sky. New perspective gain from all the pain and stress. And when I do come back, I'm stronger than ever before. So kneel, don't disturb in the beach. Look into my eyes and tell me the things you love about behind my back. Optimistically, our heart is hard to break down. It's to let go. I wonder this is going down.
Oh, what's up? Did you see Sam Cedar? Wait. No, I haven't seen any of that. Hold on.
Science is political.
Oh boy. Where do we even want to start on this? I didn't see the first time he defended it. Did you even see the original Hassan video that started this drama wave? I saw like the 2-minute clip of it. Is the full thing online or? Okay, I will look for it. My bad. Where are the linkers at? What's the name of the lady? Hassan, Jennifer Wlech. Is her show public or was this on a Fear and episode?
I think it's interesting that you thought it.
Okay, it was a Fear and episode. Did you see this?
Did you hear about D's top mod being a pedo? I think his name was Rin Lux or something. I did not know about that. Why would I know that?
Why, as this guy knows every bit of lore about me forever? I don't even know if that was AI or not. That Bondi hearing is one of the most wild things I have seen from a congressional committee hearing. What is the comparable Democrat example of this happening? It happens literally all the time on the Democrat side. Let me point you to a couple of 2-follower Twitter accounts as an example. Because that's what they always point to. Do you see the FAA stance on DEI now? No. Do I want to? What is it? FAA DEI. A new mandatory operation specification requiring all commercial airlines to formally commit to merit-based hiring for pilots. While the FAA has raised performance standards, dismantled DEI offices and contracts, and revised absurd Biden-Buttigieg era directives that wasted time renaming cockpits to flight decks, allegations of airlines hiring based on race and sex remain. Under this new mandate, all U.S. carriers will be required to certify that this practice is terminated. What is the evidence of this? Like, as in, if there's a qualified white male pilot, they don't hire the qualified white male pilot? Why are we doing mandates based on allegations? Allegations. You are the federal government. You have more resources than any other thing in the entire planet. Why not, like, do an investigation? Wouldn't that make, like, so much more sense? No? Okay, it's retarded.
It was okay to comment on a woman's appearance.
Really? Well, I'm a
I
Or
loved
it's
it.
interesting that you didn't.
Is this going to be painful?
I think it's interesting that you thought it was okay to comment on a woman's appearance.
Really? Well, I'm a
I
Or
loved
it's
it.
interesting that you didn't think it was okay to comment on mine.
Oh.
He's
Well-
got to avoid the anti-Semitic stuff.
Yeah,
It's difficult
yeah.
to describe me without laughing.
Yeah.
I always comment on a woman's appearance.
Me too, but they don't like it.
Really?
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
but he's gay.
No, I
I'm
love
gay.
it.
Did you know I was gay?
Could I tell by looking at you?
Yeah.
Yes. But
Really?
yeah. Yeah.
One of the most accomplished political commentators of our generation. She's the host of the I've Had It podcast. She also had a profession way before this. She left all that behind.
I regret ever co-signing this lady's opinions. Fuck me. I shouldn't have hedged. Or I shouldn't have, not hedged, I shouldn't have been so charitable in the past. Because I was like, yeah, some stuff is mad, but, you know, for the most part, she's pretty based. And you know what? Big mistake.
She doesn't even need it anymore. She is now here doing politics. I've had it. She does it all. She's very famous in the gay community. A lot of people know her. Everybody knows. She's famous with your mothers, right? Right? She has raised a family.
I have.
You've raised a family, 2 beautiful children.
Thank you.
Beautiful children.
Thank you.
And
Oh, me too.
you've done a hell of a job.
Thank you.
You've
Thank
done
you.
a hell of a job.
Thank you. I haven't fought ISIS.
No, you haven't done.
But I fought carpool
That's
lines.
right. In the state of Oklahoma, you live in a red state,
Which is kind of like fighting ISIS.
Excuse me. Yeah.
No, it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome to the podcast Jennifer Welch.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
He gave you such a wonderful intro. I had
Thank
to
you.
try
That was
to.
really good.
I think it's interesting that you thought it was okay to comment on a woman's appearance.
Really? Well, I'm
Oh, I
Or
loved
it's
it.
interesting that you didn't think it was okay to comment on mine.
Oh.
He's
Well-
got to avoid the anti-Semitic stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
difficult to describe me without laughing.
Yeah.
I always comment on a woman's appearance.
Me too, but they don't like it.
Really?
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
but he's gay.
No, I
I'm
love
gay.
it.
Did you know I was gay?
Could I tell by looking at you?
Yeah.
Yes. But
Really?
yeah.
Wow, that's new.
Is that wrong?
No.
Did you get a gaydar peeing?
No, that's interesting.
It wasn't a ping. It was like.
I don't usually get that.
Yeah,
What
he doesn't have gay face.
was it? Maybe the outfit that I was wearing?
Yes, but that's also like.
It's the jacket.
But like he would shut that motherfucker off most of the time. Although
You
right
really
now,
think so?
yeah. Well, right now he's kind of dressed like Latino, but it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
It's his Bad Bunny look.
yeah, exactly.
You're
I
giving
had
Bad Bunny today.
I had to
Yeah.
thank you very much for saying that. But I was looking at old Bad Bunny photos actually. We were on the way over here. I don't know why, but it's
kinda gay.
No,
Yeah,
he,
that's actually- that's crazy.
he started looking like me. Okay, I know that that's a ridiculous thing to say because he's an infinitely more successful and way cooler person. But I've had this look for many years at this point. Bad Bunny's old look was disastrous, and then he grew his hair out. And then he started, people started saying, "Oh, you kind of look like Bad Bunny." I was like, "Oh, great." But I was
Let me
there
ask you
before.
this. Do you
Hey,
have
what? I feel like Hassan changes his look like every month. He has like a new haircut, new facial hair, new glasses, and his clothing changes every day.
any evidence at all that Bad Bunny knows who you are?
No, I'm saying it's totally random that he like went in that direction. I wasn't saying I influenced him or anything. I'm just saying he has no idea who I am. Okay. No, of course not.
He knows.
Are you going to watch the Bad Bunny or the Kid Rock Super Bowl?
Kid Rock.
I'll be honest, I am going to watch the Kid Rock.
Wait, Kid Rock's doing his own Super Bowl?
Oh, Turning Point is having their own Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
Another-
Erica Kirk got another babysitter for it.
I cannot
The
wait.
morning continues. My God.
The lineup is incredible.
So Hassan, they really want him to be homosexual. Like people are desperately.
The gays want him.
They want him to be gay, but he couldn't be farther from gay than.
Why do you say that?
I think it
every
could be
time?
farther.
No, he's very, very, very straight.
He just says that because he's worried that like if I
lame.
encroach in his territory, he would not have a single twink look at him ever again.
It's not true. It's not true. I'm very confident in myself. And this man, not everybody likes. Not every gay man likes a man who's 6'4" with big muscles and beautiful facial structure.
Really?
Not
I
everybody
haven't
likes
met
it.
any that don't like that.
Well, you know what? They're out there.
No, so I'll say this. Some of them also are willing to accept other things. Right wing. Famously, a lot of guys in the administration are gay.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like
These are the demon queens.
these are- yeah.
Oh, interesting.
These are the
That's it.
demon queens. Like, I think you have, like, the gays
Yeah.
who do what they need to do. And then you have the demon queens, like that old queen that runs the Kennedy Center and drove it into the ground.
Yeah.
And then you have the DL demon queens. That's the Lindsey Graham,
Lindsey
Marco
Graham,
Rubio.
yeah.
I
Fun party.
believe J.D. Vance. He thinks J.D. Vance is a prostitute, which I have to concede he totally is. But there's a DL demon queen, Josh Hawley.
Oh, Holly.
He took
That guy has gay face.
Yeah.
He has gay face.
And he has gay pecs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a little outside my general.
Josh Hawley has gay body.
Have you seen?
Can you catch me up with who this woman is? I was under the impression she's a dog expert or something. So she is a podcaster. We've seen some of her takes. She seemed kind of strongly liberal with like some kind of more out there progressive takes, but like for the most part kind of based. But now there's been a whole drama that came up over the past week that's developed as a result of this podcast episode. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing or we'll probably get to the part of it. I'm probably going to skip some of this because a lot of this is meant, but...
Have you seen the image of him trying to kiss his wife?
Yes, like a K-drama.
Yeah.
And then have you further seen the engagement photo announcement of him standing in the end zone with Harrison Butker, the
Yes.
kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, the guy that's...
I got to interview Paris Hilton and.
I feel like he's done a lot.
Like,
Okay, is it true, Hassan, that you big time Don Lemon, like he called you to have you on, and then you kind of big time him ignored his call / text? Yes or no?
Where's this coming from? How do you know this?
Huh? I just heard about it.
That's crazy.
Did he
Are
collect call you from jail?
Listen, I am very good
this at all.
friends with Don Lemon.
I'm
Don
talking
Lemon's
out
husband
first.
is my realtor in New York.
Wait, wrong one. It's this one.
Does it?
already was.
Well, who the fuck linked this
Sure,
one?
I know.
Or did I click this one? This was 6 days ago. The one you just linked me is 5 days ago. Did I just suffer through this for 5 minutes for no fucking reason?
To start the podcast.
Patriots, gay triots, they triots, black triots, brown triots, and all of the fascists can do what?
Is that
That was terrible.
Oh my God.
It was terrible.
I
Listen,
did exactly what
you
you
have
told me to do,
fuck
Jen.
off.
Oh, fuck off.
Hassan,
fuck off? I said caw.
Yeah, it's dumbass. I couldn't.
You didn't say anything.
Well,
You
I
were
was
worse than me.
No, I got thrown off.
You
know
were
what I
worse than me.
mean?
Why do you
Yeah.
always? You want to impress her so much.
I've
he
already-
does.
Oh,
Also, not as much.
And now Princess Diana, the people's princess, dead.
she's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was an assassination.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I still think it's an assassination.
You do.
But he also
Did-
thinks Bush did 9/11.
Oh, really?
I mean, I think that the American intelligence community had a lot more
He
information.
thinks we deserved it, which I think is disgusting.
Brave take number two. No, I think that the American intelligence, I think the international intelligence community had a lot more
Right.
pre-warning about
we go.
what potentially could have happened. And I mean, this stuff is not even in the realm of conspiracy at that point.
Right,
It's just like they just kind of didn't take the necessary precautions.
Well, there was a memo, I believe it was Condoleezza Rice that read it, that said, Bin Laden determined to attack inside the United States,
Yeah.
that there was a complete, security collapse on that. I believe that that's been corroborated.
Yeah.
I don't know how you read
What do
that.
you think about that one building? Like there were
Oh,
two.
7.
Yes.
Tower 7. I still to
Fishy
this
as
day-
hell.
I still
Wasn't
to
that the
this
Marriott
day-
Hotel?
No, it was some other building that
No,
like
World Trade Tower.
who was
7.
officed in there?
I think it's like some documents were in there is what.
Why can't people take like I don't why. Why am I asking? Oh shit! I just treated this seriously. Whoops. Like it would only take you 2 seconds to Google any information about Building 7 whatsoever to figure out like how bullshit literally all of these talking points are. It would take you 2 seconds to Google everything. I don't know why anybody takes these people seriously. Like they clearly don't care. It's just conspiracy baiting. Like if you really cared, if you really wanted to look it up, like you could look it up. Like it's so quick and so easy to find this out.
Theory say, but like I think that tower's falling has never had like a good answer.
I agree.
And it's just something that we just kind of gave up on.
Completely. It's so weird because you watch the video and it completely pancakes like a,
Yeah, like a controlled demolition.
Yeah, like a Las Vegas hotel.
Now we're
that is
talking.
weird as shit.
Speaking of Las Vegas Hotel,
nobody really
Stephen
cares.
Paddock, another conspiracy that the government just kind of gave up on addressing it at all. Stephen Paddock, the shooter in the Country
yeah.
Club Festival from Mandalay Bay, the Mandalay Bay shooter.
Right.
Yeah, that was also a very suspicious act of ultra violence. There's a lot of unanswered questions there as well, and we just kind of moved on. A lot of this stuff happens all the time, and we just kind of move on.
Yeah, I think that in that argument, I think where we are right now is incubating.
Like when you say move on, I agree it's not satisfactory, but also like there are times when real life just kind of sucks, There's not necessarily a bigger answer. Not everything has a reason. Not everything is a conspiracy. Like sometimes shitty things happen. Like they do happen. I know it's hard to believe, but
by moving on. Obama didn't charge the black sites and Abu Ghraib. He didn't hold the George W. Bush administration accountable. And all of this stuff gets incubated, anti-black police, over-policing. And now all the white people are like, oh my God, a person got shot in the streets. And all the black Americans are like, this has been our experience the whole time.
Yeah.
And so I think...
Like, hello, we had the George Floyd riots. We did riot over this, right? White people included. I don't know if these guys all forgot about that. You guys remember that, right? The George Floyd riots? Do you remember that? The George Floyd riots? Hello? Like...
Us moving on is incubated where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, Rahm Emanuel, I feel like, has he been on the show?
Yeah, I got in a fight with him.
Yeah, of course. That's unsurprising. But Rahm Emanuel had to resign in disgrace because of the torture of Laquan McDonald in Chicago.
This is so fucking stupid. This happened to me. One of my friends was convinced that Building 7 was a smoking gun, that it was all a government conspiracy. I Googled for 5 minutes and got the answer as to what... Yeah, people... I remember listening to Jank say, like, how did Building 7 come down? It was nowhere near... It was nowhere near the World Trade Center. It's like, bro, a huge chunk of one of the buildings literally fell onto Building 7. What do you mean nowhere near? You're crazy.
One of these black sites that the Chicago Police Department was operating. Like, they took the CIA's methods of having like torture black site facilities where they could like disappear people and started using it at the domestic level.
Oh my God,
and
please bring up Israel
we've just, I
somehow.
guess, forgotten about it because now he has ambitions for higher office. And it's like, Rahm, there's a reason why you were the Japanese ambassador. Like, they sent you on that cushy gig far away from America because you had fucked up. And this is before we even talk about that was his fuck ups as the mayor of Chicago. Before that, his fuck ups in the Obama administration led to a massive, a sea of red wave picks that came under the Obama administration when Obama came in with the blue supermajority, like the actual supermajority, which we probably will never see that ever again. So, how are we forgetting about this?
We do. That's what we do as a nation.
We just forgive
collective
and
amnesia.
forget.
You know what I've had it with? Tardiness.
Uh-oh.
So, listener, we were supposed to start the podcast promptly at
so
10.
sorry.
And then the guest and their producer, March, who I believe is innocent, March is.
He's never innocent.
I believe March is innocent. I believe he is. They start messaging that they're late.
I messaged. They would have never said a word. He would have never said a word.
That's true.
He would have just showed up and been like, "This is the time now."
Let me ask you
It's
this:
all about him.
does it cause you anxiety when you're late?
Well, when you texted me, selfish.
It was a good takedown.
It was
Let me
a
see
good
exactly
takedown.
what that
You
was.
said selfish, self-indulging millennials.
Incompetent, self-indulged millennials
Yes,
is what I referred to you
incompetent,
as.
self-indulged millennials. I actually physically started sweating. I was in the back of my Uber and I was like, "Sir, could you please drive faster?" Mother's very angry. And then I was like, I couldn't tell. I was like, oh, maybe she's joking, but I was like, it felt a little serious. I was like, I need to maybe ask her if she wants a coffee or something.
You did.
I did, and I was like trying to pass the time and maybe not have you look at the clock. And I was sweating. He didn't give a shit. I know he didn't give a shit.
We were locked in on the car. We were supposed to be here at 10:03. So it was going to be 3 minutes,
pretty close.
which is like fairly. I mean, it's fine.
My helicopter didn't show up.
But unfortunately, New York time, like New York traffic, doesn't operate that way.
It's just a little bit more congested than usual.
It is.
Why I was
It's the
late.
Have you noticed that too?
Well, I know it's the snow on the side of the road. It kind of makes the roads a little smaller.
Yeah, what's going on with that, Zoran?
Did you see where Bill Ackman is blaming Zoran for the weather?
Yeah, that's not surprising actually, because that's when he unveiled.
Since from our homes, starting with the products we.
Oh,
You think
so
it's
It's so
fake?
fake.
Okay.
I didn't used to, but now I do. I'm fully invested.
I did initially. I thought it was fake. I was in Italy when it happened.
So sorry
And then
for
they were
so
like,
long.
"Oh my God,
It's been
here's
so
the shooter. We thankfully shot him." And it's like, no, there's 0% chance that shooter pulled off.
How did they get him to agree to it? Do you think? Like
They didn't. They just. He's a loser. He was a total forgotten soul. And there are millions of them. And I think the CIA or the FBI was like, all right, yeah, this one.
But if it's the CIA or the FBI, that would have been under Biden's authority.
Yeah.
So-
I think it was. Well, there's still different ideological components within the CIA and the FBI as well. I mean, they're not all woke under the Biden
the
administration,
deep
and then
state.
magically turn into anti-woke under the Trump administration. Or they could have hired, paramilitaries. Could have been Israel. That's another, foreign intervention. It's not a secret that Benjamin Netanyahu really wanted Trump to become president.
Yeah.
Even though Biden was eating his ass every day.
Oh my God, he totally
It
was.
wasn't enough for him. So I don't know. Could be. I like that. We should float that to Candace Owens, make that a real thing.
Yeah.
Israel actually did the fake Trump. Yeah.
Okay, do you guys want to listen to voice memos
Love
from
to.
our listeners
Would
about
love
their
to.
grievances?
I love your listeners. You guys are very popular. I mean, you should
cool.
know this. You're
There's no
very
question about
cool.
it.
Every time I tell a gay man about that I'm going to see Jen and beyond, I've had it. There's an audible.
For gay men exclusively because they're more liberated, their give a fuck meter's broken, it's just more fun, the
Yeah,
energy's better.
everybody's just like free. Like I think like straight men are always put.
Have you ever considered sharing or publishing your epistemic framework for evaluating how true a conspiracy theory is likely to be? I think that would be interesting. I feel like other people have done stuff like that so much better than me. Why? Don't come to me for that, okay? Listen, there are resources.
Putting up a facade and trying to be people that
Maybe
they're not.
someday.
It's
There you
true,
go.
though.
Never
Present
mind.
company
I'll
included
publish
or
it with the
excluded.
J6
Wait, say
video.
what?
Present company included or excluded.
Are you ripping on me?
Oh,
Am I putting
oh.
a facade?
No, he doesn't give it. He just doesn't have fun in any environment.
That's true.
So
That's
like
true.
he's not at gay bars or straight bars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm objective in my interpretation, and I read you to filth last time we tried to talk about
Yeah,
this.
I did.
He wants.
Wait, anybody read this? I feel like I'm getting blackpilled on all these orgs being pro-Pally based on the bullshit I'm reading. Wait, did you link the Doctors Without Borders thing? Apparently, Doctors Without Borders just recently put out a statement saying, I don't want to misquote it. I'm playing into the bullshit, but apparently they were like, yeah, so we did move a lot of our hospital personnel out of the Al Ali Hospital or whatever because there were like kind of weirdo masked men running in and out with guns, and they were probably Hamas, and we didn't really feel safe there.
That's what it is. And when he goes to like a straight environment, he goes out.
Jennifer knows this.
Yeah, he goes out.
Shrinkage.
He goes out, straight environment, not enough twinks, not enough fresh hot twinks for him. So he just gets upset. He's like, man, I don't like this.
I do. I like to go out and see attractive people. It's fun.
Yeah. I will say, I've seen some footage of you at protests lately, and you seem very alive and like you're having
it's my
a good
favorite
time
thing.
because you are fighting for something with total conviction. Man on the street. I'm here for it.
Yeah, no, that's what I like to do.
Yeah, I've been seeing
He's a
some
fascist
edits.
fighter.
He is a fascist fighter. I've seen some edits of him, thirst traps and whatever, and he keeps reposting them, and they keep coming up on my fucking feed, and I'm like on an airplane, and it's just like this boom, 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 and I'm like,
Here's the
can
thing.
you please stop reposting your own fucking thirst traps?
Here's the thing. Okay. They can come after me for a million different reasons. They can call me, anti-Semite, terrorist, all this stuff, radical communist. He wants to, kill landlords, whatever. Right? They can lie about all this stuff, but they can't say I'm ugly.
It's true.
So I have to use whatever advantage I can get.
That's true.
That's why, like, when people are like, Hassan, don't you get annoyed that like the New York Times or all these other major newspapers, like when they talk about you, they kind of talk about you like a bimbo. They're like, oh, he's so hot over and over again. They don't talk about your ideas, and I'm like, listen. That's terrorism insurance. Okay, I will if they're gonna write
insurance?
Yeah, that's what I call it. I do all these media hits not because like I want to I'm really excited to go to the some Times event, right? I do it because I know for a fact that the next week Jewish Insider, New York Post, Fox News, and all these other like right wing
Which one of these is not like the other one? New York Times, Washington Post, Jewish Insider. How big of a publication is this in the United States? Excuse me? Jewish Insider? Is this a publication that I'm supposed to be checking in on normally? When I think of like kind of not as popular publications I should be checking in on, I think of like Financial Times. I didn't know Jewish Insider was one I was supposed to be keeping up on. Jesus.
Israel outlets are going to be calling me a terrorist, so it softens that blow. It's the anti-Semitic terrorism insurance.
I like it. As my mother always told me, darling, if you got it, flaunt it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
Kylie, who's our first caller?
Good morning, girls.
Good morning.
I listen to your podcast religiously every day. I get full body chills and I start screaming in my car when you guys get worked up. And yeah, keep fighting the good fight. Anyway, I wanted to tell you this information, though I have a feeling you've probably heard whisperings, and I was just listening to one of your more recent, I don't know if it was iHip or I've had it, but you were talking about Lindsey Graham, and one of you called him Lady Graham.
Yeah.
And Lindsey Graham actually has a nickname in the sex worker community. His name's Ladybug.
Yeah.
And that's because he hires professional dominatrixes, pro-doms, to be...
Come on, Lindsay, come suck it. You know,
Have you not been looking at the Epstein file releases? They are horn dogs, all of them. They're creepy, horny
I know,
monsters.
but like, do these people
at institutional papers that Jeffrey Epstein is selling to Mongolia?
That's the thing is like there were no perpetrators that were trans.
And when she came out,
about
and like actually talked about Jeffrey Epstein, they bullied her. They were like he, she, like they made jokes.
That's fine.
Yeah, and they ritualistically humiliated her for like trying to out this scheme at the time.
I've got a question for you guys. What do you make of the Clintons willing to just testify in public?
I think it's mutually assured pedophilia destruction.
So you think that they're just going to admit to everything?
No, I think that it'll be a controlled setting, and they will not reveal.
Do you think that they're corroborating to do this publicly?
I think that Donald Trump came out yesterday and said,
I love Bill.
Yeah, I love Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
I love Bill Clinton. He's
Whenever,
my
and you notice he provides cover for that, like Elon Musk. I wish him well after they had their big breakup.
Yeah.
Elon outed him on Twitter. He also said about Ghislaine Maxwell, I wish her well. He just recently said the Clintons, I like them. I wish them well. So that's always a tell whenever you hear Donald Trump, the most petty, vindictive old queen on the planet.
Yes.
I mean, total queen. And then he does not have resentment towards them. It's always a tell when he's offering these nefarious people cover.
He has more resentment for like the average female reporter in the press pool than he does for like these supposed enemies that he's had.
Or
like
the shooter, of the, this is the guy
Fake
who
shooter.
Yeah, the fake shooter.
I know this is way old, but do you think he sucked off Bill Clinton?
I'll tell you what. That to me, this shows you how.
Melania was introduced to Donald Trump through Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my God.
This was a suspicion that we all had already.
So it was confirmed in the file.
It's confirmed in the file. It's there. It's crazy.
Good God.
How are the Democrats not using this? Well, I know how. Because they also are part of the Epstein stuff. And I think for a lot of Democrats, their job is to be controlled opposition. Because right now, we're talking about special elections taking place all around the country. Yesterday, in the 11th district in New Jersey, there was massively consequential congressional race that took place in the Democratic Party primary. And the Bernie AOC candidate actually pulled off a tremendous upset. The Essex County Democrats had a different pick. The establishment Democrats had a different pick. And AIPAC had a different pick. And all of these different forces coalesced. And through the ashes of that, a real fighter came out and took on an upset victory. I don't want to mess up the name here, but I'm gonna pull it real quick.
That.
Yeah, this just happened. This happened last night. Now I think they're still counting the votes. This is a super close race from what I understand. I don't know if it's been finalized yet, but New Jersey 11. Steve Kornacki, everyone's favorite khaki wearing Steve Kornacki, writes, "What's happening in New Jersey 11 tonight feels momentous. The state has long been dominated by a throwback political culture, particularly on the Democratic side. But there's been an upheaval in the last few years as the party's increasingly activist/professional class base has been in revolt. In Essex County, the biggest part of the district having the support of party leaders was for generations practically tantamount to victory in a primary. But tonight, the Essex organization-backed candidate is running third in the county, far behind the AOC Sanders-backed progressive insurgent Ana Lilia Mejia, who is currently leading the district-wide and has no support from any of its county organizations. And not only that, but also AIPAC was taking out."
This is for a federal seat, right? This isn't like a state. Not that there's anything bad or wrong with state. I'm just making sure, right, for the relevance.
The main make it or break it former congressperson who, again, former congressperson in a state like New Jersey, establishment Democrats are supposed to win in Essex County, and Mejia is doing tremendous, is like most likely going to win. And it was such a close race that the decision desk actually projected the wrong winner initially. So why am I saying all this? Because there's obviously a lot of appetite for fighters, appetite for, you know, Bernie-style politics in the Democratic Party's base of support, and yet the establishment Democrats are pushing that aside every step of the way. Yes. This, along with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries' capitulations to the Trump administration, when they have tremendous momentum behind them, leads me to believe that the establishment Democrats are more predisposed and more focused on maintaining business as usual politics and trying to stop the left flank from seizing control of the Democratic Party, even though the wishes of the base.
What are you going to seize control of? Because you win a couple elections in really, really deep blue areas? Is that... Like, this is why nobody likes you guys and nobody takes you seriously. Like, you're trying to hijack the entire party apparatus because of potentially successes, maybe, or a success, I guess, in a deep blue area with absolutely... And then the rhetoric that you want to hijack would take us further away from any kind of electoral consensus in the House and the Senate. Like, what? Like, if you're only winning in plus 40 areas, then why do you think that your message would resonate in purple or red areas?
This is clearly with the left flank.
Completely agree. In the Venn diagram of corporate Dems and MAGA, they have a lot more in common than the people that you're talking about.
It's taken me a few election cycles to figure this out. But
we like to live out together.
Yeah,
we were at the DNC together.
No, your radicalization was much faster than his.
Yeah, have a quick study.
Yes, for him, I've been telling this to him for years, and he's like, no.
But it started to click with me because I'm like, okay.
Why do you think Trump endorsed Mamdani before Schumer, though, during their meeting? I don't know if I don't know how common it is for people like Schumer or Jeffries to, like, I don't know how common it is for people in Congress to endorse a candidate for mayor. I don't know if that's like a thing that ever even happens. I know they eventually came around to it or said good things. I think even my position initially was, I feel like they should say something, but then I think I got an email or two where one, apparently Mamdani didn't endorse Kamala during her election, but also two, these are just like totally different levels of races. You just wouldn't expect to see like somebody on the federal level endorse somebody on the mayoral level. It's just not a thing that, it just doesn't need to happen yet. But obviously everybody takes it personally across the country because Mamdani is like the only success that they can point to at all for their kind of like weirdo socialist agenda.
Over and over again, we lose to a fucking idiot. And I'm like, well, why can't they do this? Why can't they do this? These policies are so popular. And then it occurred to me, well, they have the same corporate masters and donors that the Republican Party does. And you know what irritates me? And one of the messages that I wish the Democratic Party would say, because the Republicans are like, government's bad, government's bad. And I wish the Democratic Party could say, government's good. No, government is good. Yeah. The reason when government fails you, it's because the corporate private interests get involved and corrupt it. Yep. That's when government fails you. But the Democratic Party cannot say that because they are corrupted by the same donors and same private interests. Government is great. Government's amazing.
See, like the issue with this mentality is that there's no way out. Right? And you saw that Flacco guy. You saw that there's some guy on Twitter called Hassan Flacco or something. But his perspective was basically that there's no way that progressives can win because it's actually the CIA/deep state, or he might have just said CIA training to propagandize Americans against communism over the past 50 years, and they still infiltrate and destroy communist movements or whatever. But like these people always present these ideas, one, with no proof, and then two, they're like these grand conspiratorial ideas that make it so that there's basically no way you can ever engage with the subject matter in any kind of like meaningful way. Like, okay, you want progressives to win. Listen, I just want Democrats to win. If progressives could actually win and were competitive and the ideas were good for the general American population, then fuck it, then we move in that direction. I have no problem with that. But there's no evidence for that. Progressives refuse to make that argument, and instead they just sit back and they like, fold their arms. They're like, well, you need to pick a candidate that appeals to us. And it's like, why, motherfucker? You're not even the broad electorate. Why the fuck would we be trying to pick candidates that you guys like more than anything else? Like, I feel like we should be trying to appeal to the majority of Democrats first.
So proud of you.
Yes, government's amazing. Thank you.
This is
a big moment. I'm so proud. It's been one of my talking points.
You don't understand.
Recently.
Like when you met him, he was already like halfway there. When I met him, he was all over the place.
And I relapse sometimes. Like when somebody's really hot and they're charismatic, I start to be like, but
you haven't bid on the Gavin Newsom bait.
I have not. In fact, I did. I did originally, and then I realized. Then I saw multiple collaborations with Shapiro.
The Shapiro thing to me,
it sent me over there.
Political suicide.
Yeah, suicide. Charlie Kirk, what the fuck are you doing?
Telling Charlie Kirk that you're
like, this is such an old and tired talking point, and I know none of them believe it, and that's why this is why politics is so fucking boring right now. It's because none of these guys, or at least Hassan, might be smart enough to know. I don't know about the lady; she might be an idiot, and then Austin's just a clout shark, so he'll go along with whatever Hassan says. But like, why not have some actual criticisms? Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll give some. This whole you can't collaborate with people that I don't like. You can't collaborate with the enemy. That's not fair. You can't collaborate with this. Like, come on, really? Is that where we're at? These are like 2016 talking points. Like, how can you criticize How can you criticize Charlie Kirk, or how can you criticize Newsom for having Charlie Kirk on when you were literally so excited to debate him, you know, right after? He just happened to get blasted before you could. Like, what's the...
Is a major Charlie Kirk fan, dog, you are admitting that you have failed as a parent at that point.
He also won't sit down with you, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off because I'm like, you will sit down with Ben fucking Shapiro, and you won't even sit down with a member, a left part, the far left part of your own party.
Here's the thing that drives me crazy about corporate Democrats. They want to learn how to talk to Republicans. That's so wrong. You need to learn how to beat them. That's the difference. Republicans focus on how do we beat the fucking libs. We hate them. We hate their pronouns. We hate that they don't have shame when they have sex. We hate their drag queens. We fucking hate them. And if the Democrats' ethos and warrior ideology would be, we want to know how to beat you. We don't want to know how to talk to you. The 1 in 10 people that went from the triple Trump that went from Adani, what they're looking for is authenticity. And not pick me politicians that don't, that wade out into the water and like, well, I don't want to piss off the left and I want to appear more centrist.
It pisses me off because inherently, because the right has gone so far to the right, and the middle is now shifted to the right. You know what I mean? So inherently, when you are, if you're sitting here being like, oh, we need to be more moderate or move towards the middle. No, you're not moving towards the middle. You're moving to the right is what you're doing, because the new middle is over here. You know what I mean? It pisses me off when I hear these motherfuckers saying, well, the average American wants some.
Oh God, it's so gross. Hassan has his hand so far up fucking Austin's ass. He's controlling his brain. Look, he's like laughing. He's like giggling. He's like, oh, he's learned all my talking points.
Because the right has gone so far to the right, and the middle is now shifted to the right. You know what I mean? So inherently, when you are, if you're sitting here being like, oh, we need to be more moderate or move towards the middle. No, you're not moving towards the middle. You're moving to the right is what you're doing, because the new middle is over here. You know what I mean? It pisses me off when I hear these motherfuckers saying, well, the average American wants something more moderate. And I am so incensed by watching.
The average American is always worried about United Healthcare profits. Like, that's why they're like, I can't have free healthcare. Sorry, I really want to make sure United Healthcare is turning profit this year.
I want to make sure Palantir is funded.
I
want to make sure AI comes to take our jobs, but we blame Democrats.
Also, our electricity cost is skyrocketed because we're subsidizing the data centers.
Let's take another caller.
Oh, yes,
Okay, well, first of all, I had with y'all because it took me 20 fucking minutes to figure out where to leave you a voicemail. And quite honestly, I don't even know if this is the right place. It might not be, but I'm going with it because it's the only place I got. So there you go. What I've had it with is assholes. And specifically, all of the assholes in the world that make it so we have to have passwords and third-party verification and text messages for the passwords to verify the password and different passwords. And I got to change my fucking password. The hours of my life that I will never get back because of passwords are fucking stupid. It's just stupid. I can't just enter a password. You got to text my phone to use the password. Or you can email me that, but it's the wrong email that I don't even have anymore because you know why? Somebody fucked it up. The assholes. So I had to get a new email. So that email doesn't even work. So yeah, that's what I've had. I've had it with passwords and verifying passwords. And more than anything, I've just had it with assholes in general.
Have you had it with assholes?
Everybody's spamming question marks, but actually true, okay? If people would just stop hacking accounts, we wouldn't have to worry about passwords at all. You shouldn't need a password at all. You should be able to just type your name in and go in, and nobody should go into an account that's not theirs. That's actually true, okay?
Well, I have to say, I think that in a data breach, this caller's the first to go. Like, she's, unfortunately, she's got...
That is a gay man. And normalizing that it's completely okay to co/hadit to get started on Roe. Go to roe.co/safety for box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications based on study in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight plus a weight-related condition with diet and exercise. This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first gluten-free box.
Man, talk about corporate America. How many sponsors do you have?
Omni, that we make it through midterms. Or you can use the promo code HADIT at checkout.
Remember, guys, okay? Remember the rules. Podcasters are the only people who are allowed to have unlimited sponsors and to sell it as hard as possible. Nobody else in the entire economy besides podcasters and streamers, people like me, are allowed to make money, okay? Remember that.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's say that Gavin Newsom becomes the nominee. That we make it through midterms.
Devastating.
Do you vote for him over JD Vance?
I don't know.
God damn it, I'd probably be a fucking DNC, I know.
Oh, 100% I would be too.
But
I would.
This is what I hope. I hope if for some reason, but I actually...
Like, that's such an easy call. If that pick isn't easy as fuck for you, then you're just not on the... I don't even want to say on the same team. I don't even know where you are. You're in another world. You're playing a whole different game. That's like the easiest fucking thing in the world to answer. That's such an easy question. This is the clip that started off all the drama, though.
I think he's really shot himself in the foot recently. What I hope, if Gavin Newsom were to ever become some sort of nominee, which I'm not rooting for, by the way.
Also, wait, hold on. I'm sorry, because I'm missing this, because I don't live in like the online lefty politics space. He's really shot himself in the foot recently. Doing what? What happened? Or what do these guys think happened with Newsom that he's fucked himself so hard? What are they even talking about? Just because all the other lefties are hating on him, or...
Even though he's eating
talked about Shapiro, is that it?
I think that because he's such a career politician.
He's such a thirst trap for the Oval.
I know, but like, why? Like, to me, I'm like, my hope is that like maybe he could be a blank canvas and he could just be like,
this is you relapsing.
No, not relapsing. My hope. This is my hope. But this is if he becomes a nominee. But
guy who has controlled the Democratic stronghold of California with an iron fist and the veto pen is going to magically become.
I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. I just said that would be my hope, but I'm also not. This is not my. At this point, I'm extraordinarily
to yourself already.
Extraordinarily disappointed in.
Who do you vote for, JD Vance or Gavin Newsom?
Well, I'd have to vote for Gavin Newsom.
Me too. I wouldn't blink. What about you, Hassan?
I'd probably vote third party.
You would?
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is the same as like my refusal to endorse Kamala Harris. The reason why I did not endorse Kamala Harris was because she did things that were not only unproductive but also unconscionable. And I still stand on that. I still talk about it all the time because people constantly bring it up like, you didn't sufficiently like promote Kamala Harris. You're the reason why.
Yeah. Also, is career politician an insult here? Like, isn't Mamdani kind of a career politician? Wasn't he? He's really young, right? And wasn't he in like the city council and everything? I don't remember if he had a state legislator seat. I know Bernie Sanders has been in office for like 5 million years. Oh, I almost fucking domed that guy on accident. Like, is career politician just bad when it's politicians we don't like, or?
I'm like, I am incapable. There is no singular force in this country that is capable of making or breaking an election. And if that was real, then it is the most idiotic thing. Was because she did things that were not only unproductive but also unconscionable. And I still stand on that. I still talk about it all the time because people constantly bring it up like, you didn't sufficiently like promote Kamala Harris. You're the reason why she lost. I'm like, I am incapable. There is no singular force in this country that is capable of making or breaking an election. And if that was real, then it is the most idiotic thing not to listen to my demands. But everybody knows that that's not real, right? If I had this singular...
Like, this analysis is so stupid in like 50 different ways. People always do this. Emma Vigeland did this when we had that weird PV event with me, Vaush, and her speaking, where they're like, oh, well, I'm just an online person. I don't have any influence whatsoever. And it's like, then what are you doing? But you don't think you can influence anybody? We literally get paid to sell products. What do you think sponsors pay us for? It's because we influence people to buy shit. Why do you talk politics all the time? Is it literally just a get together with you and your friends and you wouldn't care if nobody listened or if the entire country, like, do you have a political mission or not? Like, what a weird thing to say that you feel like you have no influence over anything.
Force to be able to make Kamala Harris the president, then Kamala Harris should be coming to me every day and being like, let me do a collab with you, please.
Totally. But then also, let's assume you do have a lot of influence. And he's like, well, if I do, then why aren't they trying to appeal to me more? Because appealing to you might turn off more voters than it wins, right? Like, that's not that hard to understand, no?
Right? That's not the case, of course, and they know it. That's why they didn't do it. But the campaigns are always responsible for whether or not they're able to win the crowds, win the population over, and you know, combat against the couch. Not necessarily even against the Republican Party, but usually you're fighting against the couch, people who just don't go out and vote. And for me,
if the campaigns are responsible and nobody else, then why did you guys get so fucking mad with how the media covered Bernie Sanders or how the media treats any of the progressive woke candidates? So, like, this is such a, like, all of these are unserious positions. He doesn't believe these with any level of consistency from one candidate to the next. It's just like word vomit. All of this shit is word vomit.
The way I see it is if the Democratic establishment makes this decision one more time, just as they did with Hillary Clinton, just as they did with Kamala Harris, and in some ways just as they did with Joe Biden as well, which led to Trump too, then they just don't care. And there's not much I can do.
Let me tell you something. I agree with everything you say, but as a person who lived in a red state for 50 years, I would crawl through 10 feet of concrete to vote for Gavin Newsom, even though I think he's duplicitous, a hypocrite, a thirst trap, hungry.
What do you think is the real reason he hates Kamala? I'm sure he has a little bit of resentment because they weren't making the tours on his show, so he's probably a little bit salty because of that. But then also because he's a socialist. These guys don't share our mission. They would never support any electable Democratic candidate because definitionally, anybody who's electable in the Democratic Party is probably not going to align with their mission as socialists. They want to create their own political party. He's basically said these exact words when he was criticizing Mamdani for supporting the wrong person, saying that he doesn't want Mamdani to build the Democratic Party. He wants Mamdani to build a socialist movement within the Democratic Party.
For power, all of the things that you say, and harms the Democratic Party and sets the psychological soil to be more prey to fascism. All of that I agree with. But there are so many young, queer, black, brown, marginalized people in red states. And even though this corporate Democrat is, you see it in a long-term game. In the short-term game, a President Newsom over a President J.D. Vance means that these people have some protection. Because these red states, like, here's what has happened in red states. The Democratic Party abandoned the 50-state strategy. So you have Republicans or a Republican that switches parties a Dem, and their goal is to out-crazy each other. So in Oklahoma, we have like 0 Muslim population, but we have banned Sharia law like 4 times. You have a guy that's running for governor right now that's so against transgender people that he has a commercial where there's a banana and he slices it with a knife. Like that somehow people are going to start wagging wieners off at school in Oklahoma City public schools where they just put Trump Bibles in them. So you have this, that people out-crazy each other, and these state governments are so fucking unhinged. When you live in California, or New York, where I live now, you lose touch, even before Trump, of how diabolical these unhinged right-wingers are. And I agree with you. I think Gavin Newsom has committed political suicide. I think Kamala started off her campaign well, and she should have stayed to the left and leaned into it. I thought she was liberal anyway, you know, so why not just lean into it? But I would enthusiastically crawl through 10 feet of concrete for all of the marginalized people.
Do you feel like the Democrats know that, and that's why they get away with their ineptitude?
Why aren't you more against Kamala in the primary? I don't know if Kamala would even run. I know that they were tweeting out things, but like, it's like 3 years from now. Like, we're so far away from that election. I'm not even thinking about that election right now.
100%.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so 100%. I'm like, I don't even entertain that stuff, especially this far out from an election. But even in the primary season, that's immediately the conversation is like, well, whoever is the candidate, you're going to vote for them, right? And you know what's really indecent about that too? they never returned the favor for left flank candidates.
Yeah, no.
Because no one ever made hay about Bernie Sanders potentially becoming the candidate, and all of the articles that came out about how Trump might be more preferable to Bernie Sanders. Because they were writing those.
I don't even know what he's talking about with this.
Liberals were writing those articles talking about how, the head of Goldman Sachs, who was like, I'm a lifetime Democratic Party voter. I think, Donald Trump is better than Bernie Sanders.
I know several people personally that went on that Bernie Sanders to Trump pipipeline.
No, it's a real thing.
It's a crazy thing because these, Bernie appealed to the
Well, Salo, thank you for subbing for 29 months.
to the anger of these young people that could, they couldn't afford, the cost of living, healthcare, everything like that. He appealed to them, just like Trump.
Sorry if this is a stupid question, but why don't socialists make their own socialist party? Maybe I'm just too European to understand. In the United States, you generally just have like a two-party system when it comes to presidential elections. It's really hard for anything else to win. You could win other seats, but the reality is third parties are generally just too lazy in the United States to do it. They just don't like to, because it would actually require them to do real political work, and most of them are just too fucking lazy. So libertarians will just have their once a year rallying around a guy for the presidential election, and then everybody else will just kind of like meme about with third-party shit, sometimes serving as spoiler candidates. But otherwise, people are just too, they don't want to put the work in to actually make a party and try to win in local offices and build up like a real political movement.
Trump does, but obviously Trump's solutions are, blame it on the immigrants, the trans people, and everything like that. But it's crazy to me that these people exist.
I'll tell you what's really started to change me a lot is when Zoran, who incredible candidate, laser focused on affordability, laser focused on universal human rights, did not have to throw one fucking group under the bus. I've had Cory Booker on my podcast. He talks about we've got to get rid of corporate money. We've got to get rid of Zoran did all of that. And Hakeem, day late and a dollar short to endorse. Chuckles never endorsed. And then Cory Booker never endorsed. And the way he was treated by the Democratic establishment is so appalling to me. It really opened up my eyes because I'm like, this is the new shiny object right now, the Democratic Party. He has a formula. He has it. He has the movement. He took on billionaires. He took on the Democratic establishment, and he kicked their fucking ass and didn't take one corporate time. And the corporate Democrats, like,
wait, who are they talking about right now?
This is the new shiny object. He was treated by the Democratic establishment is so appalling to me. It really opened up my eyes because I'm like, this is the new shiny object right now, the Democratic Party. He has a formula. He has it. He has the movement. He took on billionaires. He took on the Democratic establishment, and he kicked their fucking ass and didn't take one corporate time. And
again, this is mayor of New York City. This is the mayor of New York City. Why do we keep pretending like the mayor of New York City is generalizable to the ordinary United States population?
the corporate Democrats like trying to distance themselves. I was like, oh, they really are MAGA-lite. They really are.
They didn't just distance themselves. There were people that distanced themselves, and then there were people that were attacking Zoran in the most
Islamophobia.
like Kirsten Gillibrand coming out and being like Zoran is a jihadist who wants to kill all Jews.
Yeah,
that was insane. That's like shit that Trump doesn't say about Zoran. Trump now loves Zoran, but like even before, like the fact that there were establishment Democrats that were more Islamophobic towards Zoran Mamdani than the president, who is the top Islamophobe, was mind-boggling.
Am I making this up, or did Trump talk about? Hold on. Didn't Trump say that if Mamdani won in New York City, that he would pull like all federal funding from New York or something? Am I making this up? I feel like Trump was threatening crazy shit if Mamdani won, but I guess we just are forgetting about all that. So, okay.
To me, it was yet another moment of vindication, though. So for me, it's like I think these guys are zealots. The establishment Democrats are zealots. They have this defense of liberalism that they will not shake off, that they think they will be able to go back to business as usual politics no matter what. And even if it doesn't happen, even if we do turn fascist, they'll still hold their cushy positions and they'll be complacent and they'll be fine. And that's what I'm terrified of. And that's what I'm very frustrated about. And I think
the Kirsten Gillibrand comment true? I don't know. There were a couple people that said some pretty retarded things about Mamdani. I don't know for hers or not. I know that Cuomo was going crazy on it.
A big part of that argument does revolve around harm reduction voting, because harm reduction voting is correct. It's right. In theory, it is correct. But harm reduction voting does not actually lead to Democrats winning decisively, and it certainly does not force them to legislate appropriately when they are in power to make sure that they're following on.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to say that because I didn't know if that was just about Ilhan Omar, but yeah, he was talking about stripping Mamdani of his citizenship as well. So Jesus.
Their agenda, and that they never have an incompetent fascist win office ever again. That's precisely the reason why I try to stay away from harm reduction narratives to the best of my ability, because that is the reason why democratic complacency is calcified in this country.
I
agree. And I hope that during the primary that we are able to find a more progressive candidate that will run as fearlessly as Zoran Mamdani in New York.
I agree. All right. Any last grievances that you would like to share with the I've had it listeners? What is it? With
fucking Bluetooth connections in the car. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hello?
Okay. We had apparently Sam Cedars' first defense of Hassan. I think this is the second one, though. This is 1 day ago. Is there one from before this? Okay. What is this?
Can we just trust my judgment here every now and then? Can we have a fraction of confidence?
He is such a fucking cult leader, man. I swear to God. I am going to be so relentless, you guys. A demon has been activated within me. I am going to be I will fucking tweet about Hassan 30 times a day for the next year. I don't give a fuck. I have such a singleness of purpose, sounding the alarm about these fucking snakes.
True. Pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
I'm going to have so much stamina, it's going to fucking blow your minds. God damn it. We need to fucking sound the alarm now.
Yep.
We need to do it
Get
now.
him out. Not good duders. They're not good. Let's see. Jennifer Welch's response. After. Somebody find me the first Sam Cedar reaction to the
all right. Although the
I believe what I have up, I think this is the second one.
Democratic Party is winning right now. They're winning because MAGA is so horrible. They're polling historically low. And within the Democratic Party, you have a couple of different sects. You have the corporate Democrats, the vote blue no matter who. And then you have real progressive Democrats who kind of feel homeless but end up voting with the Democrats because of harm reduction. And I was the former, and I'm morphing into the latter. After Kamala lost, I really started taking a look. Why are the Democrats losing to this man, this moronic, fascist man? How are we losing? So I had a conversation with leftist streamer Hassan Piker and Austin Show on I've Had It in New York City. And a clip from our conversation is going viral all over Twitter and social media, TikTok, Instagram, etc. And this conversation to me is it appears that people online are trying to shut this conversation down. And when somebody's trying to do that, then I think, oh, this is the conversation we absolutely need to have. And so I'm going to play a little bit of it right now. Please do not back out of this video, because to me, this is the most important conversation to be had within the political spaces right now for anybody that wants to fight fascism. Play the clip.
Disappointed in
Who do you
Gavin
vote for,
Newsom.
JD Vance or Gavin Newsom?
Well, I'd have to vote for Gavin Newsom.
Me
of
too.
course, 100%.
I wouldn't blink.
There's no-
What about you, Hassan?
I'd probably vote third party.
You would?
Oh yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is the same as like my time, because make a case of whether they're able to win the crowds.
Okay, pause that right there, Kylie, and leave it up. So what he's saying here, I think, is really true. Number one, when it comes to Gavin Newsom, for somebody like Hassan, who has felt very homeless in the American two-party system, you have Gavin. I gave him a hypothetical question: Gavin Newsom or JD Vance. Gavin Newsom, instead of going on Hassan's show, he has had Charlie Kirk on, and he has had Ben Shapiro on. Gavin Newsom has. In each case, he ceded progressive causes. He ceded trans rights, and he ceded ICE to Ben Shapiro.
Really? He ceded trans rights because he said maybe having in like NCAA sports, maybe having cis women and trans women playing together is kind of a bad idea, which it is, by the way, and it's a losing idea, but it's also just a bad idea. And then I didn't listen to his conversation with Ben Shapiro. Did Gavin Newsom cede all of ICE to Ben Shapiro? Is that a good faith summary of that conversation?
Very easily. He's fumbled on Israel big time, and he's a huge corporate donor, receives a lot of PAC money. And he has said that he will not tax billionaires. All of these things are very unpopular with Democrats at large, specifically with this group of people that feel homeless in the America two-party system. So from Hassan's perspective here, he's like, I'm going to vote third party because he doesn't see any difference in the help for marginalized people. He sees one person that campaigns as slightly liberal, yet takes all of the same money from these corporate PACs. And so online, the liberals have completely wet the bed, and they're going after Hassan 2.5 years out from a general election, and are trying to pigeonhole him in that he's a terrible American, and all of this could be his fault, which is insane. If we look at historically what's been happening in American politics, Bernie started beating this drum, and his message, in my opinion, and I didn't vote for Bernie, and I have recently said I regret that vote, because I have been doing a lot of internal thinking and studying as to what are my politics, because my politics have typically been my whole adult life. I'm liberal and I vote with Democrats. Well, the Democrats keep losing. And so I started digging beneath that surface. Why are Democrats losing? Specifically during Kamala Harris's campaign, when she started trotting around with Liz Cheney.
Oh my God, dude, the Liz Cheney talking point. These guys are obsessed with her. Holy shit, obsessed.
Struck me. Like, why is she trying to get these people to vote for her that will never, ever vote for her? Why isn't she courting the progressive side of the party? And here's what's so critical. In the last campaign, it's not that Trump grew his vote. It's that less people that typically vote Democrat turned out. So the Democratic Party, instead of courting the progressive people in the last campaign, it's not that Trump grew his vote.
Well, Trump did get 3 million more. Was it 2 or 3 million? We looked this up. He did get 2 or 3 million more voters than he had in the last election. But I guess we just, for these guys, just information or reality doesn't matter. Okay.
It's that less people that typically vote Democrat turned out. So the Democratic Party, instead of courting the progressive...
Kamala campaigning with Liz Cheney was objectively a bad idea. No one is a neocon anymore. Campaigning with, you mean doing like one event where she was on stage? I think getting as much endorsement as possible from as broadly a coalition as possible, I think is perfectly fine. To pretend like she lost because of the one Liz Cheney thing or whatever, give me a break. That's such a fucking cope. To say that one Liz Cheney could taint an entire political movement so much, but these crazy, unhinged, Stalin-loving, Holodomor-denying, Mao-obsessed fucking tanky LARPers, that none of them would have a negative impact is delusion. Sorry, that's delusional.
Side. They go in court, the Ben Shapiros, the Liz Cheneys, the Charlie Kirks, these elusive right-wingers that are never, ever, ever going to peel off and vote for a liberal. Because here's the thing. In middle America, everybody believes Kamala to be super progressive. The Hassans of the world are like, no, she's a corporate Dem. Gavin Newsom is a corporate den. But in the psyche of the American public, they're like, oh, they're so liberal. So moving to the center is a fool's errand and is perceived as disingenuous. So Kylie, pop up, or let's finish this clip and then I'll pop up some of the reactions.
Combat against the couch, not necessarily even against the Republican Party, but usually you're fighting against the couch, people who just don't go out and vote. And for me, the way I see it is if the Democratic establishment makes this decision one more time, just as they did with Hillary Clinton, just as they did with Kamala Harris, and in some ways just as they did with Joe Biden as well, which led to Trump too, then they just don't care. And there's not much I can do.
Let me tell you something. I agree with everything you say, but as a person who lived in a red state for 50 years, I would crawl through 10 feet of concrete to vote for Gavin Newsom, even though I think he's duplicitous, a hypocrite, a thirst trap, hungry for power, all of the things that you say, and harms the Democratic Party and sets the psychological soil to be more prey to fascism. All of that I agree with. But there are so many young, queer, black, brown, marginalized people in red states. And even though this corporate Democrat is, you see it in a long-term game. In the short-term game, a President Newsom over a President J.D. Vance. Okay, so that's the clip, and that's where they cut it off that went viral. And Hassan was making the point to me, and we're friends, and so we're having a political conversation, and these conversations should not be shut down. This is the most important conversation as far as Democrats.
Nobody is saying the conversation should be shut down. I don't know where she's getting this weird cancel culture take from. We're saying you have a fucking stupid opinion. Who's trying to shut down the conversation? What? Or maybe I'm sure somebody is, but...
Democrats winning moving forward. Hassan is saying, look, Democrats are up against the couch. What are you going to do to motivate people to get up off their ass and go vote? Going and playing patty cake with Ben Shapiro is not going to do it. Playing patty cake with Liz Cheney is not going to do it. Taking AIPAC money is not going to do it. It's going to make people like Hassan and many, many others that feel homeless in the United States political, two-party political system stay on the couch. And so I think that's a really valid point. Now, I have this red state trauma of living in a red state for 50 years and seeing how damaging Republican policies are. And so I will vote for these short-term solutions to mitigate so that a woman who has been raped can receive health care, can get an abortion, because in Oklahoma right now she can't. And I'm interested in having this conversation with Hassan because what we voted for with Biden is we voted for a sober driver.
Oh, true. It is. It's also projection. They want to shut down Newsom from talking to Kirk and Shapiro. True, actually. You're right. That is true.
A drunk driver with Trump, and we needed a sober driver, and Joe Biden was our sober driver. And Joe Biden did some good things. There was a lot of policies that he did that were good, but a lot of things he...
When is she going to walk back from that into just saying that Joe Biden was a complete and total failure? She fucking hates Joe Biden. I'm sure she's on her way. Don't worry.
Did continued and incubated fascism. And it's a really important conversation we have to have. The Democratic Party taking corporate money, giving blank checks to Israel.
Like how did... Oh, it was because of Israel. That's how we incubated fascism. Israel. It's always Israel at the end of the day.
Compromises them. And then to the voters at large, they go, well, there's really no difference in the two. And then you end up voting, your
By the way, voters at large didn't give a fuck about Israel-Palestine. Voters at large cared about inflation and affordability and, broadly speaking, the economy and I think immigration even. What was it, like 6% or whatever ranked that, I don't remember if it was foreign policy in general. It might have been Israel-Palestine in particular. Like that just wasn't a big driving factor in the election, regardless of your thoughts on it. It just wasn't.
Conceived default settings of politics. And so here's what happens. That's where they cut off the video. And stay with me here. Here's all the liberals just bashing Hassan. This guy, Tim, this is incredible when you think about it. If leftists like Hassan had their way, Republicans would be in charge from 2016 to 2032 at least.
True.
How is he even considered any sort of left? And what I would say to Tim here is what Hassan is saying is we need to build a party that has an FDR style impact that really, really impacts the lives of people instead of this slow moving incremental change that the current Democratic Party always proposes and leaves so many people out in the pasture and incubates them to go vote for the change candidate. And in both 2016 and 2024, that change candidate was Donald Trump.
Does this woman not know that Hassan is a tanky? Most of these people, this woman probably included, don't really understand the kind of the weird like propaganda language that people like Hassan use. That's why he's able to go mask on. For a lot of older people, I know that we've kind of, well, I say we, but not even really for like millennials in general, just us people who are like very online have kind of a little bit of a better handle on the whole like socialism thing and how like kind of weirdly subversive they try to be. But most people don't have any concept of that, especially like older people. They're going to think of socialists as being kind of like the weirdo communist people, but when they see people like Hassan, they're going to see him as being like, oh, he's like a progressive, like a far left Democrat. They're not going to see any major ideological difference there. That's why she keeps saying, like, in her mind, the only thing that the Dems need to do is move a little bit to the left, and then they would capture all these people just like Hassan. But it's also probably a little confusing to her, because when she thinks of like the BLM riots and all that stuff, she's also thinking of a lot of people who are just like further left, but they're not. There's like a fundamental difference here, but she just doesn't have the political acumen, vocabulary, understanding, I guess, to know the difference that much. Which, again, to be fair, like a lot of people who aren't super online and dealing with these types of people, or maybe who aren't in like college campuses, just won't see that very much.
But herself with Liz Cheney, they reeked of the two-party system establishment. And again, Donald Trump seemed like the disruptor. Go to the next one. This is the one that really popped up. Usurp, the chef, says, when asked if he'd vote for Gavin Newsom or J.D. Vance for president, Hassan said he'd vote third party. This proves Hassan doesn't care about any of the marginalized groups he pretends to support. All he cares about is taking money from them so he can buy more outfits for Stream. True. Okay, Usurp the chef. This is intellectually dishonest completely from top to bottom. Gavin Newsom has proven that he doesn't care about trans people. Gavin Newsom has proven that he doesn't care about the illegal nature of what ICE is doing.
Because of his one comment
and so to put the burden of this on Hassan, who's saying, I'm not going to settle for a fascist collaborator who always is reaching to platform fascists and to find
fascist
common ground with them.
collaborator?
It's just intellectually dishonest, because Hassan has a record of standing up for trans people. And when Gavin Newsom did that with Charlie Kirk, that pain was felt through the trans community far and wide. And Pete Buttigieg did the same. And Rahm Emanuel came on my podcast and did the same. And so to say that Hassan doesn't care about marginalized groups is completely disingenuous, because what he's saying is, I'm not buying the lie that Gavin Newsom does. I'm not buying that anymore, because each time I do, or each time we do, it incubates a more and more fascist culture. Here's the part of the video that they cut out that I think provides incredible context for the remainder of our conversation. Pop this up, Kylie. Enthusiastically crawl through 10 feet of concrete for all of the marginalized people.
Do you feel like the Democrats know that, and that's why they get away with their ineptitude?
100%.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
okay, pause
I don't even.
So Hassan clocked me right there, and I'll own it, because my politics are open-minded. They're not fixed. I don't play nanny boo-boo politics. Oh my God, you said you would vote third party, therefore you must be canceled. Number one, Hassan's not a politician. Number two, Hassan gets to think whatever he thinks. Number three, there is a large growing number of Americans in Gen Z and as millennials that have felt completely unseen and left behind by the two-party political system, who hate and despise how much they suck up to corporations, who see the moral duplicity in a Hakeem.
Like, what are all these non-points? Like, Hassan is allowed to think what he wants to think. Like, that's such a weird non-point, right? Like, why does she keep bringing this up? This is some shit that somebody says to you, if you're not being like autistic, when you know they're about to completely and totally walk away from something. Maybe like it could be like a relationship or a project or something. Where like you're fighting with somebody and it's like the whole like, oh, well, can we go here? Can we do this? And they're like, you know what? You can do whatever you want to do. And it's like, if you're retarded, you're like, oh, cool. Okay, awesome. But like, if you understand what's going on, you're like, oh shit, this person's about to walk away from whatever the fuck it is we're talking about. Right? Like nobody is saying that Hassan can't have a certain opinion. That's fine. We just think it's a dog shit fucking opinion. That's what people are arguing about.
Jeffries, a Gavin Newsom, a Chuck Schumer, a Cory Booker, who take money from the MAGA corporate donors and also take it from them. And so when Hassan said that to me, do you think the Democrats know that and take your vote for granted? And I said 100%.
Also, this idea of focusing on donor money, like what are we talking about in terms of policies or output? Can we talk about that instead of this vague allusion to like corporate donor money, the corporate money, the corporate money, the corporate donor money, the corporate, like what did he do differently? What do you want to see different? Like is it literally just that? Like who's donating? Is that the only thing that you care about? You don't care about any policy or anything whatsoever? Is there no way for me to fucking loot that because it broke this way? Are we being real right now? Like, can we reference a single noteworthy thing at all? Or are we just going to obsessively say corporate money, corporate money, corporate money over and over again and pretend that that's like a substitute for having any real talking points?
He's right, because they do. Because I have this red state trauma. So I end up thinking, okay, I'm going to do a harm reduction vote. The reason why this conversation is so important, listener, is because we have time right now to have these conversations and to move our politicians to a progressive populist platform. We have the opportunity right now to rid ourselves via primaries of corporate Democrats who lie to us and use our votes and take advantage of our votes and our compassion for marginalized groups and use them to their advantage to then curry favor with.
Okay, then put up a candidate. Then put somebody up. Why do they never do that? Put somebody up then. If you don't like the candidate that's out there, if you don't like Newsom, then fine. But then put up your own candidate. Where is this obsession of like the Dems need to appeal to me? Find a candidate and put it up. What the fuck?
Corporations and then go make massive stock exchange trades while in Congress. Okay, continue with that clip.
Good one.
I haven't entertained that stuff, especially this far out from an election. But even in the primary season, that's immediately the conversation is like, well, whoever is the candidate, you're going to vote for them, right? And you know what's really indecent about that too? They never returned the favor for left flank candidates. Because no one ever made hay about Bernie Sanders potentially becoming the candidate. And
I don't know what he's talking about there. What does he mean they never support? It's not like people have iced out left-wing people from Congress or like AOC. Well, you could argue actually that Nancy kind of fucked over AOC. I think that was more personal than her just being to the left. But like she's on committees, they work with her. They work with the left-wing people. But they're just not that popular. They're just not, their political opinions are just not that popular among the American population. But every single thing will be considered for these people beyond that idea. Like I've said this before. This is my same criticism, I think, back in 2020 and then in debates I had around then. Progressives always have this understanding that the American population broadly supports every single thing they want. If they don't, it's just because they just haven't heard it yet, or they haven't heard it loud enough, or because the CIA is blocking it. Like, that's it. Every defeat is to be blamed on the CIA or big something or some type of corporate donor or APAC or whatever. But it's never because the policies aren't that popular. They're just not that popular. Like, that's just an unfathomable thing. And it's so fucking annoying to hear these people cry over and over and over again about these same things, while refusing to just consider, like, maybe your platform's just not that popular, you know?
all of the articles that came out about how Trump might be more preferable to Bernie Sanders. Because they were writing those. Liberals were writing those articles talking about how, the head of Goldman Sachs, who was like, I'm a lifetime Democratic Party voter. I think, Donald Trump is better than Bernie Sanders.
I know.
So I just think this is a super important conversation to have. And if you have people on the left that are shutting this down, they are failing to do a proper autopsy. We know that Ken Martin at the DNC spiked the autopsy as to why we lost. He spiked it. I suspect that in that autopsy as to why Kamala lost is because the Democrats refuse to listen to voices like this. And I am willing to go into these conversations with Hassan and get owned. Do you think the Democrats know that you're always going to do that and take advantage of your vote? Yes, I do. I do think that. Anytime you have a political party or political movement that is shutting down this type of conversation, when we lost 2 elections to a complete dipshit, an incompetent con man, and we can't have the conversation with the progressive flank of our party, that Bernie Sanders created a movement and it continues to permeate through the Democratic Party.
But not really, though. Like, that's the problem. When the Tea Party came up, they did get a movement. They got a caucus and they started voting a certain way and they had to be listened to and they had to be reckoned with. The whole Bernie Sanders thing basically fell apart the instant Bernie Sanders left office, or not left office, I'm sorry, but that after that political, after the attempt at president, I guess, and then all of his people basically scattered off into the wind to become the worst types of fucking people ever. They all did become the worst types of people ever. Your Breonna Joy Grays and your I don't remember the one guy who got accused of whatever bullshit and then disappeared. But like, these people just didn't build anything politically. They built podcasts and they built pundit studios, and then that's it. They didn't get anybody elected. They have no power in Congress. Nina Turner, Virgil Texas, that's the guy I was thinking of. Like, that's it. They have nothing to show for it. Like, if these guys could actually win seats in competitive areas, or I guess maybe even steal some more super blue Dem ones, then I guess maybe we'd listen to them, but ugh.
So much so that you see progressives winning right now, Zoran Mamdani. And when you look at all of the issues that Zoran won on, line item by line item by line item, and you take them out of being progressive, conservative, Democrat, Republican, they're all super popular policies. So this Democratic establishment that Hassan is speaking out so much against, they don't want people to know that. So I have a really hard time with the liberals online right now trying to shut this conversation down and deny Hassan his opinion or browbeat Hassan from here to Timbuktu because he is pointing out a conversation that we need to have. And I think the reason Kamala lost because nobody wanted to get off their couch that was super progressive because they feel like both parties are the same, because they're not lazy corporate news voters that just takes what MSNBC says and takes what CNN.
True. They're not like the lazy corporate news voters. These are the highly informed podcast people, the podcast crowd. They're way smarter. Oh my God. So true, Queen. Yes.
Says, and then goes out and votes. They have dug deeper. These are very high information voters that go, no, wait a minute. AIPAC spent $200 million to get Trump elected. It's clear Benjamin Netanyahu wants him elected. Kamala is taking money from the same PAC, really isn't talking about this genocide and the blank check to Israel. I see this as a continuation as more of the same with it being slightly rebranded. And I just think it's very MAGA-esque to shut down
how much money did AIPAC or whatever give to Kamala? If you just said they give $200 million to Trump, wouldn't that be a place to start? If Israel is such a huge fucking concern for you, a person who literally probably knows nothing about this entire conflict, which I guarantee you she doesn't, then wouldn't that be a good place to start? If that's going to be your single defining thing, how much money did AIPAC give to Kamala?
Conversation like that with Hassan and me, and to take a side on that, and to not.
Do you think we're at least heading towards a direction where people across the country are more progressive candidates? No, not yet.
Understand that Hassan and I were having a super important conversation that is should be front and center of every Democratic conversation right now as we head into midterms. How do we build a majority party that services the most people without throwing any groups under the bus and doesn't prioritize servicing corporations?
Oh, well, yeah.
And that's what he's saying. And I'm okay with us being at the end of the day that Hassan might be the person that sits on the couch and I might be the person that goes and votes for the corporate Dem. And I'm still evolving on that. And I have to keep an open mind about it. But more than anything, Hassan and I are online personalities. We are not politicians. And we both get to have our opinions about this. And we get to succinctly disagree or push each other and evolve. But when I see liberals or people in the Democratic Party trying
I need to take notes on shit like this. How do you like make a 20-minute response video to some shit without ever saying anything of fucking substance? We're allowed to have opinions. We can have opinions. We're allowed to have opinions. How many times has she repeated that talking point? Jesus Christ.
To completely shut him down and shut down this conversation, it feels very cultist to me. It feels the opposite of what a progressive
cultist. The Democratic Party at large are cultists, but the hyper small selection of rabid tankies who all stand the same one or two politicians, definitely not cultists. Okay, thank you.
Movement, a resistant movement to fascism should be. And then Kylie put up the tweet and the graph about where the Democrats are right now.
Did you debate Vaush on him splitting Vance over Newsom? I mean, I guess if you wanted to have a debate, sure, but I don't think he would. He's permanently fortress arced. Also, his community's been super mad about that as well.
Hassan says, liberal Twitter has erupted, demanding party loyalty, hitting lesser evilism and harm reduction lines 2 years out from the presidential election. But they refuse to reckon with this historic unpopularity for the Dems as Trump is deeply unpopular. Hold your electeds accountable, please. So here we have the Democratic Party. The favorability is 33%, historic lows. And what Hassan is saying is, why do I, as a voter, why did this large voting group, why do we have to concede? Why aren't the politicians?
Who do these people want to run for president? They'll never, ever, ever tell you. They can't tell you. The reason why they won't tell you is because, one, they either don't have a candidate to point to, or two, they would point to a candidate that might actually have a fucking chance of winning, and then they would have to actually engage with politics. And nothing scares a lefty more than actually having to do something political. They hate it. They hate it. So they will never give an actual fucking electable candidate. They might name some random irrelevant person or point to some random bullshit, but they're just totally impotent when it comes to choosing and pushing for an actual candidate.
Conceding that corporations are not in the best interest of the people. And the people in the Democratic Party that are trying to shut this down, all you're doing is giving his platform more power. Because when I see the Democratic establishment behave this way in a cult-like way to say that we can't have an honest conversation about this, it makes me really lean into what Hassan is saying and dive into it more and more, because oftentimes progressives are they're right. They're just right way too early. And so if you think about where Bernie Sanders was in 2016, he was right. His message has aged far better. I didn't buy it at the time. I thought, oh, Bernie's crazy. He can't win an election. And the fact of the matter is he probably would have beaten Trump. And where would we be now if we would stop listening to corporate Dems and the personalities that prop up this? We have to be a fixed party that preserves this two-party system, and we cannot push our elected officials to service the American people more. So I just wanted to respond to all of this and say that me as a voter and as an online commentator, I'm going to continue to have these conversations. And the more the Democratic Party tells people to shut up, the more I realize how rigged the whole thing is. And then I end up going further and further left. Every Democratic politician should be shutting down corporate money. Every Democratic politician should be going on shows like mine, and especially shows like Hassan's, because that's where the people didn't show up, because they are tired of being lied to by Democrats. All right, that's all I have. Like, subscribe, comment. Be back later with more news.
Okay, apparently this is Sam Teeter's first defense of this.
Hassan is right. Newsom would just create a slow decline to fascism. Also, all the liberals wanted to start the vote blue no matter who. Before the primary, before the midterms, they were really quiet about Zora. This is in reference to Hassan Piker was on with Jennifer Welsh on... It was I've Had It, right?
No, it was a third-person show. I'm not as familiar with.
Okay, well, nevertheless, he was asked, Gavin Newsom and J.D. Vance, who would you vote for? Son, being in California, is A, both very familiar with Gavin Newsom, and B, in California, and he said he would vote third party. Now, I assume people are not upset about how he's going to vote personally because it's California. And as I've said many times, like, you know, the issue in a safe state, who you're going to vote for is sort of secondary. But also, and I am someone who votes for the lesser of two evils. But the idea that you would espouse the voting of the lesser of two evils in a primary, because that's where we are. Let's be clear. There is no nominee for the Democratic primary, and there is
no one was talking about right now. Does he even know what the original conversation was about? They were saying in a hypothetical where it's J.D. Vance versus Newsom.
There's no nominee for the Republican. I should say, there's no Democratic nominee for the presidency.
There is no primary right now.
Republican nominee for the presidency. The idea that you would even be remotely perturbed during essentially what we're in is the pre-primary or the primary for 2028 as to what people are saying. I mean, I would imagine when we were in 2020 saying something effective like, I can't even imagine voting for Joe Biden. It is stupid. And what it does to me when people do that, I mean, obviously, yes, there's the hypocrisy about Chuck Schumer not voting for Zoran and Jeffries, like, you know, endorsing so late. I mean, all of that. It just goes to show.
Did Schumer say he didn't vote for Zoran in the general? Or did he just mean to say in lack of, like, outward endorsement?
Like, they don't even believe that stuff. But, in fact, I probably believe it more than they do.
Probably Hassan does.
But the idea that you would chastise somebody during a primary for such a thing gives away the game to me. Like, I am very late to the awareness of people being, and obviously now we have stories about how people are being paid online, influencers and stuff like that. I mean, I started doing this at a time where the idea of that was absurd. There was no mechanism for anything like that. And
Hassan did vote for Kamala and refused endorsement, like Schumer, even if he voted blue. These are two totally different things. You're talking about a national level election versus not a national level election, and you're talking about a political influencer whose job it is to influence people to vote nationally. That's not even remotely, those aren't even remotely comparable things. And these, yeah.
So it never really occurs to me, but like, I am just shocked that there is supposedly this many people motivated about who you're going to vote for in the 2028 presidential election. Like, we're not even in the primary yet. It's a very weird reaction.
Especially in the context of the previous election and what happened, say, in Michigan.
Yes, and I will also say, like, what's clearly going on right now, to the extent that there is any competition for the Democratic establishment and the narrative about which...
Okay, so Sam just has no idea what he's talking about. He doesn't really know what he's responding to. He has no clue what the hypothetical was. He's just doing his general far-lefty slop. Okay, good. All right, and then this is the second one. Apparently, double down on this.
Science is political. Hassan is right. Newsom would just create a slow decline to fascism. Also, all the liberals wanting to start the vote blue no matter who before the primary, before the midterms. They were really quiet about Zoran. This is in reference to Hassan Piker was on with Jennifer Welch on. It was I've Had It, right?
No, it was a third-person show. I'm not as familiar with.
Okay. Well, nevertheless, he was asked Gavin Newsom and J.D. Vance. Who would you vote for?
Oh, okay. At least he knows a little bit more of the context this time. Good job.
Being in California, is both very familiar with Gavin.
Oh, wait, is this the same one? Wait, how did he fuck it up last time then? Wait, this is 1 day ago. This one was
Hassan.
2 days ago. Wait, was this the same one? Did I miss the beginning? Hold
That's
on.
right.
Oh, it is the same one. Never mind. Wait, where's the double down one? This is what I had kid up for this. Wait, so he did have the context in the beginning. He just fucked it up. Okay.
But like, can we?
No. Why do people link me when I'm looking for a certain link? I don't understand people who link me the most random fucking things. Stop. Okay, I'll find it. Hold on. Am I making this up? Was there not a thread titled Sam Cedar doubles down, or they double down to the majority report? Am I making this up? Oh, is this? Never mind, I found it. Oh, but it is the same clip. Oh, so there wasn't
Science is political.
Double down. I got misled by this first comment. He doubled down again? Jesus, he used to know better. You motherfucker. Okay.
Every now and then realize that there is a
Now we'll watch this clip from the guy I just banned from chat.
concerted effort here that if we don't push back against right now, it will only fucking grow in momentum, in size. Some of you didn't fucking trust me on the Israel stuff, and you understood that I was right. Some of you stayed behind. Some of you left. Now you're back. Okay? Just please fucking trust me here. The reason why I'm bringing this up at this very moment is because it's going to reach a boiling point. It is already the same exact back and forth, the same exact combative institutional defense of third-way neoliberalism that has been the cancerous entity that is the beating heart of the Democratic Party. And they're going to push it over and over again. That much is clear. A lot of these people who have positioned themselves as being like Democratic content creators on Twitter, which also then turn into like TikTok rants as well, these guys absolutely are doing it already. They're doing it early on, and I appreciate that they're doing it early on. I'm saying it right now. I'll talk to Brian Tyler Cohen. I'll talk to the Midas Touch guys. I'll talk to any of these fucking dudes who want to understand what my position is, what my worldview is.
Anybody who'll give them a friendly interview.
Debate me on it. We can do that. Okay. Anytime, any place. I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. We need to fucking have a normal conversation about it. We need to nip this shit in the bud, because I know for a fact that the large majorities of these influencers will toe the party line. As long as the party is captured by the left flank that are significantly better candidates with a significantly better national posture.
Then why don't they win elections?
The establishment
Where are
Democrats
they?
do currently, which is precisely the reason why they have a historic unpopularity in this moment.
Where's your popularity for all the leftists?
Like an ideological commitment. They're at most the sex cult freaks. Their ideological commitment revolves around defending the interests of their freak ass fucking pedophilic Twitch streamer.
Oh, I was just about to ask. Oh, he's going to correct and say Kickstarter. I was going to say, are you talking about like the Democrats and Epstein, or am I the whole Democratic Party now? Is that what he's saying? But he's about to say, oh, kick streamer.
Not Twitch streamer. He's not on Twitch. Sorry. Kick streamer. Right?
True. It's literally me pulling the strings behind the scene for the entire Democratic Party and everybody that disagrees with Hassan Piker. Remember, when Hassan was late to that lady's podcast, oh, this guy's going to blow me the fuck up. It was because I was the one slowing him down in traffic. It was all me. It was always me.
Bro, what is the point in chatting in streams like this? Almost like this is done to limit the size while championing democracy. Shut the fuck up. If you're an ultra, if you're an anti-electoralist, this conversation is not for you. See yourself out of it. Okay, shut the fuck up. Either be a good fucking cadre and push back on the shit, or shut the fuck up. Ooh. Okay, sit on the sidelines and watch. Okay, but I don't want to hear your morally righteous position as a fucking ultra. That has been addressed a million times over by even fucking Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. Okay, fuck off, fuck off. Ultras, pile on the shit libs. Okay, stop fucking yelling at me. I'm tired of it. It's a fucking ideological battle taking place here where these guys have no real staying power in mass politics, where most liberals, most self-identifying liberals want more from their fucking party, want more from their elected representatives, but they are speaking to the consultants that are desperately looking for some kind of momentum. They can't have that real momentum in the real world, so they're trying to build that momentum on fucking Twitter and on TikTok, okay? That's it. This entire thing started with this post.
The campaign.
I was on I've Had It.
Okay. This is 4 days old. I don't care.
First time
What's Nick up to?
super chatter. Looks Max Math PhD old news, but every serious white nat I know disregarded both embarrassing Pusa and Hispanic halftime shows. If it were my call, the show would be Tchaikovsky with bombs and fighter jets lol. Gen Z white nats I know are successful, book smart, jacked, and many are grow-ivers.
You sound like an insufferable idiot.
Evelyn Groy, $25. 2 halves. Could you stop associating the white net label with GOP chuds, defeatist old heads, and vulgar rebel? They are not an accurate representation of WN. Maybe we need a new label for elite Gen Z to disentangle from them. White ascensionists. You ascend, Europeans ascend, America ascends. RKD4NJF, thanks for the time.
Where do you find these people? Honestly, where do you find people that... It's so depressing that people like this exist, that they have these awful ideas and they think they're good and they tap you on the shoulder and say, hey man, I got a good idea for you.
Isn't it kind of true right now that Dems right now, or isn't it kind of true that Dems right now are super unpopular and it does look like they don't really have a direction of doing things? Yes, I think that is a huge problem with the Dems right now. But I think the solution is because the Democrats just haven't established like a strong commitment to a particular set of ideas. They're more, it kind of just feels like they're in either pander mode or they're too soft or weak to commit to a particular thing. Like they're just too scared to push forward in an actual direction while being willing to take a little bit of heat or risk, and they don't have any coordination among themselves is like the big issue. But it's not because people are like, oh, they don't like the Democratic policies or they don't like the Democratic Party politicians or whatever. They're just, everybody's like afraid of their own fucking shadow on the left, and you can feel that. That's palpable. The fear is palpable. Republicans are fearless to some extent because they have nothing to fear because they're always going to be backed up by their own, literally, no matter what the fuck they say or do. But that it translates to how people feel about them.
What if we called ourselves white ascensionists? And you go, yeah, great idea. This is why maybe Goyim were bred for this purpose. You know, honestly, I don't know that it's exactly like this, but Jews are onto something with this whole idea that there's a tiny minority that have souls and the rest only look like human beings, but are in fact animals here to serve an upper class. Like, Jews were definitely cooking with that idea. I don't know that it's Jews that are the ones that are ensouled, but like, it's definitely some kind of minority. Like, Jesus. They were definitely cooking with that framework. Like, they have the framework correct. I just don't know if they have the details right. If it were up to me, they'd be Tchaikovsky. Yeah, that sounds like it would really fucking suck. And you sound like a faggot. You sound like an insufferable faggot. Christ. And your idea sucks. Okay. And I hate you. And if I met you in real life, I would have to grimace and fake laugh. And my face would hurt from forcing a smile to endure the interaction because you are nothing. Because you are goy. Because you are goy cattle. Goyim in abundance. I sometimes wonder how dumb these Goyim actually can be, said the Jew.
Ashton Forbes sent $40.
Okay. I don't want to do the Alex video yet. Any interest in watching GamerNexus Schizo rant about Discord? I kind of lost a little respect for how hard he's going after it. I don't know.
Discord wants your government ID, and it wants...
I'm a DGGer.
Uh-oh. Vaush's fan base is getting very mad for 2 reasons. I don't know why, but I still get his threads that pop up on my Reddit app. Oh, well, it's probably because I click the threads, so they should, I guess that would explain it. But one is because apparently lately he's been super electorally doomer-pilled, and 2 is because apparently he really needs a CPAP machine, but he won't get it. I think if you have sleep apnea, it's like a horrible predictor for so many different bad things in your life. So you should, like, CPAP machines are literally life-changing and life-saving. So if you need one, or if a doctor recommends one, you should try getting one. But apparently people don't like looking like Darth Vader while they sleep or something. I don't know.
I have to admit they're a bit obsessed with Hassan. They're completely obsessed with Hassan. I could agree with everything Destiny said about Hassan, which I don't, but I could, and you would still have to accept that they're completely obsessed with Hassan. That's just very obviously the case. And there is a synchronicity there, because I think that Hassan's neurosis about Destiny has at times extended to the point where he's mentally bracketed me in with him, which is crazy to me. What the fuck are you showing me? A Hassan fan that debated Destiny today got into a fight 30 minutes later. How is there a camera there? Wait, do you mean like debated Destiny at a live event? It's just man.
You just aren't able to sleep with sleep apnea. You never completely fall asleep. I think there's more than that too, though, because your body gets so tired. I think at some point you start, like, your oxygenation of your blood starts to fall before you finally, like, wake yourself up coughing and stuff. Like, I think it's more than just trouble sleeping. It can lead to a bunch of bad things. Wait, Joe Bro, Dr. Flair said, I have fat people in their 40s on a ventilator from bad sleep apnea. causing a cascade of medical problems. I believe that... Oh, hold on. I was just about to say shit without knowing. I don't know why. Just look it up. I was going to say, I think that sleep apnea machines just give like gentle positive pressure. So it's not like invasive or harmful. Like it just helps you push air in a little bit more. Ventilators are brutal machines. When you have to go on that shit, you're in a very bad place. You don't ever want to have like I bet this stands for like positive airflow pressure or something. What is this? Continuous positive airway pressure. Okay. But anyway.
Man, so much stuff going on the other side.
Dude, actually, all you do, you said you would cower instead of standing up for your values. You're a pussy, bro. How about you hit the gym and some bitches? Bro, look at your eyes. You're a bitch. Whoa.
What the is going on here, man?
I don't know why that guy pushed him. Not good.
Debates are so bad. Yeah, no, high-minded debate culture. We're back in the...
You become dependent on CPAP machines and sleeping without can kill you. So I don't know if that's true or not, but not having one for sure will cause you to have huge problems. So if you can have one, get one. And then you can also make lifestyle changes, I think, because things like obesity or gaining weight, I think, can also play into developing sleep apnea. I don't know if there are other things that cause it as well, but... Do I need a CPAP? I don't. But I don't think you're ever supposed to really snore that much while sleeping. If you're ever with a partner or if somebody comments that you snore a ton or you wake up kind of like sputtering or coughing, that's a huge indicator that you should do like a sleep study or something.
The goddamn Parthenon.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Holy shit.
Can you grab that jacket? I got you. I don't know what happened, but just...
What are we doing with this jacket? All right, well.
Capitalist liberal America, we have the right to disagree.
Dude, you literally bragged about putting Nick Fuentes on the map, dude.
Do you think I put Nick Fuentes on the map? The guy
You
who worked
literally
for
said
Kanye
that
West
online.
campaign?
You said that online.
Oh, well, if I said it, so it's true, but I also said I did it. What do you mean? I platformed him because I've debated him in the past. I think you should have debates with people.
Yeah, you platformed him, then you bragged about him becoming famous, do you?
I don't think I was the one that made Nick Fuentes famous.
Then why do you say it?
I don't think I do say that.
There's literally a video of it, along with an inward compilation.
There's a video, or there's like a separate... What is this video? I feel like there was a time where I was the only person who would talk to Fuentes because he'd know their connections, so I was surprised that he was willing to burn it, which was true, but I'm pretty sure the thing that, one, got him massively into some people... Well, one, his political movement was way big before I started debating him again, and then two, Milo's the one that drafted him into Kanye's camp for stuff, and I haven't spoken to him since that. This weird selection of some things you'll take me hyper literally and believe me completely fully on, even though I don't think I said I'm the only reason why Nick Fuentes is popular. I doubt I ever said that. And then number two, like everything else I say is untrustworthy and unbelievable. And three, apparently I don't get credit for also making Hassan or anybody else, people who have actually positively platformed and put way more effort into. And then four, you don't actually do the analysis on like, wow, what was the platforming like? That, you know, are you just not supposed to debate bad people? Like there's no position. It's such a stupid talking point. But again, wasn't AFPAC massive before you ever talked to him? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I spoke with Nick after he had that big AFPAC event, right? So it's like, it's just such a boring, but none of these talking points are real. Like it's all just... 7-second clip of me saying something you saw what a subreddit was. Okay.
I mean, you got a clip of it. I mean, you can say nah all you want, dude, but like actually...
I don't know about this one, lads. I don't know if this is the best position to confront him on. People say this about me and, what's his face? That like 5-foot-tall fake communist Nazi guy? The communazi? What's he called? Hinkle, not Haas. They say that about Jackson Hinkle with me. Because I debated him one time on Assad using chemical weapons on his own people, I think.
Do you think I made Hassan Piker?
Just open a window, yeah. God damn.
No.
But I made Nick Fuentes?
Yeah, but
you know, I platformed Hassan in a way more friendly way when he was a much smaller person than Nick, like way longer, right?
Well, I don't think you were debating Hassan Piker in like 2018 and shit like that constantly.
Wasn't I? Didn't I start debating him in like 2019? Also, constantly, I platformed him in such a friendly way. So was debating bad, but platforming them in a friendly way is good. It's so dumb. Literally debating Hassan in like 2019. And
I'm not like a crazy Hassan Piker fan. That's crazy that you obsess about some...
You first talked to Hassan in October of 2020. Oh, and then I like how he pulls this afterwards. Well, I'm not a Hassan fan. Even if you're not a Hassan fan, who cares? I mean, like, answer the question. What? You can say, I don't think you made him, and I'm not a Hassan fan. Or, I do think, like, are you a Nick Fuentes fan? Is that what you have opinions about Nick? Oh, God.
Tall tan guy. All fucking
tall
dated.
tan guy. He's the largest left-leaning political content.
I don't know about this one. I think rhetorically this might be a difficult avenue to approach him from.
Creator. I also talk about Ben
Yeah,
Shapiro.
but you automatically assume that like I'm this crazy Hassan Piker fan just because I'm left wing. Why are you like so fucking obsessed with this guy?
Is it crazy for me to assume that you would be politically aligned with the guy who shares your political ideology? Is that really that insane for me to think?
I mean, I just think it's kind of strange that you automatically go to that I'm like a part of this other guy's group.
If I was talking to a MAGA guy and I assumed that he was a Trump supporter, would that be a weird thing for me to assume?
What?
If I was talking to a Trump supporter, or if I was talking to a MAGA person or a conservative and I assumed they were a Trump supporter, would that be a weird thing for me to assume?
Yeah, but I'm not a Hassan supporter.
No, but you're both
I don't
socialists.
define myself.
This is good
Hassan's
stuff.
not like a politician, dude.
Okay, that's
I support
great.
his policies and then put him in office.
I appreciate that answer now. Why were you so quick to reject the idea then that I made him famous, though? Why did you seem personally offended by that?
Because I don't know enough about Hassan because I'm not a fan of Hassan. I don't like
Then why
watching
even have an answer?
religiously.
I don't know anything about that. Do you think that if it weren't for me, do you think Nick Fuentes would just not exist?
I'm a DGGer and I have to admit they're a bit obsessed with Hassan. They're completely obsessed with Hassan. I could agree with everything Destiny said about Hassan, which I don't, but I could, and you would still have to accept that they're completely obsessed with Hassan. That's
okay. For DGG, maybe. I am not personally obsessed with Hassan. I cover him because of that new stuff or whatever that's, that's relevant. I think I talk about it an appropriate amount. Dan is obsessed with Hassan, and there are a portion of my audience that kind of follow that obsession, which is annoying as fuck. But I mean, it is what it is. But I understand at the end of the day, people will conflate whatever they want for whatever purpose they have. But
just very obviously the case. And there is a synchronicity there because, like, I think that Hassan's neurosis about Destiny has at times extended to the point where he's mentally bracketed me in with him, which is crazy to me. But, I don't know. This is precisely why I disagree, because it lowers everyone. Like, you're destroying your root chakra. You are not going to make it. You understand? It's like the political takes have to cultivate in an environment where people aren't stomping over the garden all the time,
You want to be as big.
Really? You don't think the Kanye West campaign helped at all? You don't think Candace Owens and all these other people that...
I mean, I did, but that was like after you, though.
I think it's interesting. Okay, so at least for my coverage, although not me, I don't know as of recently with this whole thing that just blew up, I'm pretty sure we're watching a ton of Asmongold stuff. I don't know if Asmongold has ever used this defense, the "you're obsessed with me" defense. Is that a thing he's ever said? I'm trying to think if there's a uniquely, like a Hassan Piker or a lefty kind of defense. Like, you're so obsessed with me. You're so obsessed with me. Like Asmongold, again, largest political streamer on Twitch. I'm going to talk about him a lot, of course. And then same thing with Hassan, largest left-leaning political streamer. Of course, I'm going to talk about him. Like, of course. Without me, he would have never been involved in that Kanye stuff. Milo wouldn't have reached out to him.
But you definitely played a role and you even bragged about it.
Okay, well, if the 7-second clip said so, then I guess I can't argue with that.
I mean, you just admitted that you have a clip of saying that.
I probably said that I have platformed him before because I debate a ton of people. Yeah, that's what I do. Do you think that like you should never debate people who have substantial disagreements with you? Should you never? Did you see Hassan covering food shops? He's actually a lore master. Yeah, that's another annoying thing too, is the amount of projection. Hassan knows so much of my lore, and then I end up not knowing anything about like any of the shit around him. And then I have to constantly ask chat or other people who are more obsessed than me. And then he's like, yeah, Destiny, Sex Pestity. So did you guys see that on page 27 of the recent filing that blah, 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 blah? Or yeah, or like knowing details about food shops or the inner workings of like the Pisco drama and all this shit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro. I don't even know who the fuck is on your Fear and Loathing or whatever fucking podcast thing anymore. And somehow he knows all my lore, but also I'm obsessed anytime I talk about it. It's like, okay.
It is true. Debate does spike your cortisol.
Debate like a Nick Fuentes type?
Yeah, you can debate him, but you shouldn't brag afterwards that you made them famous.
I don't brag about making him famous.
There's literally a clip of you doing it, though.
Okay, well, if there's a clip of me doing it, then he's also beefing with the peanut guy, the burnt peanut guy. Yeah, because I think the burnt peanut guy made the dog collar joke, so obviously Hassan is triggered as fuck. Godspeed, God bless. Do you have any other points you want to bring up?
Is this at like a university or in a public park or something?
Not really. I'm low-key bored.
Okay, well,
so
good luck in your...
But I do have something to say. I know it's contradictory to what I said earlier.
Okay.
But long live Hasao Dao, Pai Tung.
This is rough. This is... I hope Hassan doesn't watch this. Vaush I would never... Vaush I might, but probably less likely to. This is what simping for China on stream gets you? Yeah, I guess so. Oh, no Mog Die Afraid. Held frame. I do it to embarrass you only. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Pisses myself. I've got one more thing. Shits myself. Is there like a somewhat productive clip? Another Hassan fan? Oh,
Think about like progress towards whatever world you want. What candidates would you even support today that are already in office besides Mamdani?
Besides Mamdani?
Holy, wait, he came back?
Anymore.
Ocasio-Cortez is a really good one. Bernie Sanders, even though he's kind of become more liberalized. I mean, democratic socialism is something that Americans want right now.
Then where are the politicians winning elections that are Dem stocks? Why don't they exist anywhere?
Ilhan Omar, democratic socialist, Ocasio-Cortez.
So we have the Justice Dems, those 4
the city that has the greatest GDP production in the United States, New York, got a democratic socialist mayor.
So New York City, a very blue place, I'm aware of that. But outside of like these plus 30, plus 40 like blue places, where are all of these Dem stocks? Why don't they win elections in like competitive areas, in purple areas? Why don't they win elections in red areas? Why is it the only elections they can ever seem to win? The very, very few they have, the 5 that we pointed out, before Justice Dems and Mamdani, are in like super blue areas. That makes...
I think the productive way to engage here is to identify the stuff that people like about Mamdani isn't that he's a socialist. It's that he's friendly, engaged, charismatic, and really enthusiastic about the process of using government to do good stuff. Like, most people like...
What you just described as an abundance liberal, though, no? Using the government to do stuff, not necessarily a socialist. Isn't that like abundance liberalism?
Mamdani, it seems, at least within New York City, you know, for this reason. I don't think everyone who voted for Mamdani like wants democratic socialism. What I think they want is authenticity, productivity. They want to...
I saw from Sam Sanders' response video that Dem stocks are about 30 to 40% of the Democratic voter base. Yeah, I saw clips of that, but I have to look at I need to watch him say it because I can't imagine that my audience's summarizing if that was correct. That apparently was it of Democrats that were polled that said 40% of Democrats were too liberal? And when Sam Cedar read that, now in the American political discourse, if you're too liberal, that means you're too far to the left. But when Sam Cedar was reading it, he's like, oh no, they're too liberal, like they're liberals. They want them to be more socialist. When they say too liberal, they mean they're too far right, is apparently how Sam was reading it, but it couldn't have been that stupid. Or that poll is more specific than I realized or something. I need to look. I need to go look at that. Yeah.
Feel like they're contributing towards the betterment of their city, of their society, in a world that feels like it's in decline, which I think a lot of people do feel that way, right? So my thought here, I guess, is like, I'm not even looking for democratic socialists. What I'm looking for is people who are engaged in this way, and I see that more often for people who are like on the left, I guess, right? Like obviously the most fervent supporters of Mamdani typically are democratic socialists or whatever, people on the left, but it's about those underlying tendencies. So if you can sort of hypothetically extract the positions that a person might like about Mamdani, do you think those attitudes, like a person who's enthusiastic, charismatic, engaged, really wants to get down there and work on those policies, make the city better, do you think that would do badly in like the rest of America? Probably not. No. I think the real reason why these candidates are so rare is because of the Democratic, sorry, I don't mean capital D Democratic like the Democrats. I mean the lowercase d Democratic machine, where we have a two-party system. And for the most part, as you entrench the interests of the people who are already in the local Democratic or Republican Party, you know, they're there for a while, they have their own ideas about how things should be run. And yes, there is a degree of like corporate collaboration, even at a local level. You know, you develop a relationship with local contractors, local businesses. There's a lot of like, at the micro level, there's a lot of like, what is it called? Like a family favoritism? Nepotism. And these systems get more entrenched. They get bogged down like every bureaucracy can if it doesn't get, you know, revitalized, re-energized by people like Mamdani or by like big populist waves. So I think that what we're looking for isn't like, we need a socialist wave across America. No, we need a can-do spirit across America, and not like a fake can-do spirit. You know, like every Democrat, every Republican, they get out there around election time and they're like, we want to really get down and fix these issues. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't, dude. You obviously don't. You're going to get an office, then like chill and let your staffers write your bills for you, and you're just going to sit, you're going to do nothing the entire time. Maybe you'll hop on like a pet issue or something, but you are not going to like actually get anything meaningful done. And we need big change, right? Like big, meaningful. And I don't just mean socialism. I mean shit like the debt, like a wealth tax, which is not socialist. I mean like a revitalization.
Why do they always push for the most loser ideas that wouldn't even help that much? Wealth tax wouldn't even generate that much revenue. It's so easy. Repeal the Trump tax cuts. Boom. $400 billion a year. Boom. Repeal the Trump tax cuts. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, just repeal them. That's it. And you've made so much more money. Please stop with the loser, extravagant, eccentric taxation schemes that even fucking European countries don't like. Please stop with the weird shit. And also, please stop assuming that you can go from Trump to getting radical change on the left, bro. We're trying to come back from the brink of existence. And the idea that like, oh, we're ready for a socialist government now. Bruh, how about we survive as a country first?
Of our democratic process, parentheses, ending the Republican Party, with like stuff like that. So I think that Destiny is misframing the terms of the argument, but he kind of has to, because the guy he's talking to is framing it as though it's about socialism, which again, we're so far from that, you know?
It seems like the people don't generally want democratic socialism.
Well, yeah, you have a polarization. America's a heavily propagandized population. Red states politicians.
Okay, then you understand I can't win the argument, right? Because on one, you just said that most Americans want this, and then when I ask, well, why don't they win elections? You say, well, because most Americans don't want it because of propaganda. Well, what am I supposed to say then?
Well, nobody can.
That's not necessarily unfalsifiable. Like you can engage with that. It's difficult to engage with in like a fast-paced debate, but there is a value. There is a point there. Obviously, like yes, the Overton window and the popularity of certain positions does influence what people think they want, and there can sometimes be a big disconnect. Like Florida, for instance, voting consistently more left on policy and referendums than they do in candidates. So it's like, maybe the cultural bias towards Republicans, which is a product of like very extensive advertisement and investment and like a reaffirmation of the strength that party has in the state, you know, maybe that's pulling people away from things that they would otherwise want. There is a degree of, you know, compulsion there.
Doesn't even know what democratic socialism is. But what
democratic socialists don't have a consistent definition for democratic socialism.
True.
You tell me you would allow capitalist parties to exist in your system.
Well,
or like people say the Soviet Union wasn't socialist. Or...
I'm not a democratic socialist, though.
What are you, a social socialist?
I think that you can't really have democracy and socialism at the same time because capital will overthrow the system again. And
well, but there wouldn't be capital. It would be socialism.
Reactionary forces will.
Sure. So you want like a vanguard party, and you want to like have a violent overthrow of the whole capitalist class and everything.
Well, I wouldn't say for like legal reasons. I'd want like a revolution or anything like that.
Nervously rocking back and forth on their feet. Wait, was the whole thing just this one person?
They kill millions overseas. Nestle company killed 8 million people.
Okay. How many people died in the Holodomor? How many people died in Mao's revolution? How many people?
Oh, it's like the conversations I had in 2019, man. Oh God. Oh my God.
Under capitalism, even though we have a resource.
Yeah, rip to my man Charlie Kirk. You would have loved to come across this guy during one of your campus tours.
Yeah. Plus, in regards to the food, 8 million people die every year due to food insecurity. We have constant wars for imperialism, constant wars for
How is socialism solving any of these? Do we have less wars with the Soviet Union or what?
Soviet Union wasn't starting wars and doing like proxy shit.
Really?
No,
where do you know where tanky comes from? The Hungarian Revolution.
Who overthrew Salvador Allende Chile? Who overthrew Nicaragua?
I'm not saying capitalist countries are perfect. I'm not going to argue that. Of course, there's issues. I'm just saying I don't know why we
You're
assume
comparing
that
an aggressive power to more of a defensive power.
You think the Soviet Union was just defensive?
They weren't overthrowing every single country that had socialist
values. What do you think the Soviet Union was? How do you think they got all those other countries in the Soviet Union? It was by overthrowing their governments or supporting people.
Yeah, those were domestic revolutions in many cases.
Domestic.
Domestic support
that were
order to a
supported by the
revolution.
Soviets? You think Afghanistan? You think all these were just domestic revolutions? The Soviets just happened to.
This is just a Tard fight? No, Destiny's correct here. Not because it's good to be anti-communist or anything. It's just like the arguments here are really bad. It's not like I think it's important to look at stuff like this sometimes. I think from my perspective to remind myself of like what the broader, not Overton window, I guess. What are people? I need to be reminded of like the broader environment in which discourse takes place, not just the kind of discourse that I tend to have now. I think remind yourself to not go back to this. Yeah, I mean part of it is definitely that. Yeah.
You think the same in Ukraine
So you
right
think
now?
every single one of those people who overthrew those governments were backed by were Soviet Union agitators then?
I think there's a reason why when the Soviet Union collapsed, the country.
Hassan promotes this thing, by the way. I think that Hassan would probably make his arguments better than this kid, but I think that to an extent, yeah, Hassan is not this bad. What I do think is the case is that a lot of popular online leftist discourse does either cater to or at least include like this kind of person, the kind of person who would play like ear rape Soviet anthem on a boombox while dressing as Cesar Chavez. Yeah, like for Halloween Day or whatever, you know, with the communist hat. You know what I'm talking about. Drinking a fresh lemonade. And I think that those people are very obnoxious, obviously, that they tend to be very young, and they're very vindictive online too. So the problem is if Hassan ever goes on stream and he says like, dog, can we be so for real? The Holodomor was obviously the fault of the Soviets. They were callous and inattentive to the needs of their people, and part of it was punitive action against the demographic of people who had defied Soviet rule. Can we be so for real? The crushing of the Hungarian people. Can we be so for real with Afghanistan? Like if he did that, even if he's done versions of that, whenever you do something like that, you agitate this group of people, and then they spend the rest of their life talking about how you're a fake communist and a counterinsurgent and a deep state op and a Fed. So I think that there's a little bit of trepidation. The problem is that when you tiptoe around these people, they multiply. So you have to be you have to be a little principled with it, I guess. It's what happened with me, right? Like everyone, if you mention me in communist circles online, everyone there calls me a lib or worse. So
How can I don't understand how he can give this take here, but I feel like his sub was melting down because he was basically saying that like he also would side with Hassan in the not voting for Newsom over JD Vance thing. I don't know what the fuck his argument is for that, but okay.
So it's
the reason that left didn't want to go back. There's a reason for that.
Well, Soviet Union didn't exist when, also, when you talk about like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, even Ukraine, they all voted to stay in 1989 with the Soviet
Why would you?
Union.
Why didn't they even go back after 91?
Because the Soviet Union dissolved under Gorbachev after he did a illegal dissolution. What?
Why not try to join Russia?
Because Russia is a capitalist oligarchy.
Okay.
It's not...
That was their issue after, is that Russia became too liberal for them? They wanted back their Soviet overlords?
The economy collapsed under shock therapy, dude.
Sure.
Nobody's going to want to rejoin that. It did. GDP collapsed under Boris Yeltsin.
Yeah, I'm aware. I know you guys say Yeltsin. Okay.
This is fascinating. It really was. Like this guy was here for like 20 minutes, man.
Okay, I don't know why I watched this. Okay. What do these guys have an issue with? Uh-oh.
Discord wants your government ID, and it wants it just in time for a rumored IPO, just in time to increase shareholder value by having additional marketable information attached to your chat app profile that you may be using through an EXE that's installed.
Just as a quick thing, okay, because everybody's obsessed with pedophiles now. It's like, that is like the hot button object to talk about on the internet is pedophiles. Man, people love the pedo discourse. What are the alternative suggestions for all these people that virtue signal over the pedophile shit so much? What is their alternative? Maybe he gives one in this video. I guess we'll find out.
On your Windows desktop computer that is at some level capable of monitoring the processes that are running on said computer. Discord says it wants to launch a teens by default mode for Discord, the chat application. The press release stated, quote, Discord users can choose to use facial age estimation or submit a form of identification to its vendor partners with more options coming in the future, end quote. So good, more options. Maybe they'll add fingerprinting next or rectum scanning. Wait, no, that's retina scanning. Retina. Says Retina. Although, I do now have a new idea for a new technology I can sell to the corporate ass kissers. So, the language is pretty clear. You either scan your face, or you upload an ID. And if you don't want to do one of those, then get fucked, basically. And that is the way the internet's going. In general, Discord is just the newest part of that. And unfortunately, it is one that has come in and displaced forums in a way where it was already troublesome. You can't find information you used to be able to just search the internet for. It's become a mainstay for a lot of people. And now it's come time for Discord to cash in on the power it's collected. It's trying to tie identities to accounts so that it has verified users, which is useful for a lot of things. But in particular,
Vaush is centrist, build a bridge. You can fix the well test stuff by talking about raising a floor. I will never, ever, ever make the mistake of investing time into people whose entire communities call me a pedophile rapist, largely because of lies that they've spread about me. That bridge is always possible to be rebuilt, but if he's not even willing to make the first effort to do it, then why the fuck would I ever even waste a microsecond of time trying to show charity or do any other thing? It should be the easiest ask in the world to say, hey, you should correct the record about the massive amounts of blatant misinformation you would spread to your community about me. Because it's not on accident. It's not random chance that his community has those opinions about me. If they can't even do that, it's not even worth the effort.
Acquisitions, selling, and marketable data. And no matter what Discord says they will or won't do with your data today, the minute they sell it to a company like Microsoft, which has been rumored in the past, is when none of that matters anymore. Because we all know that companies like Microsoft really wouldn't mind spending a couple million in a settlement now to make several billion in profits later. The good news is that Discord would never publish anything saying that it has identified exposing approximately 70,000 users' information containing government ID photos. Quote, we have identified approximately 70,000 users that may have had government ID photos exposed, which our vendor used to review age-related appeals, end quote. Okay, that's different, especially in light of the recent data breach. This is Discord's most aggressive identity-related play yet. The discourse around Discord hasn't been positive, and it's worse for Discord that they pissed off the gaming community. Quote, rest in piss, Discord. It was good while it lasted, but it's finally time for Discord to die, end quote. And quote, yeah, that'll be a no from me, dog, end quote. There's one more disturbing link in all of this, and it's this guy, Peter Thiel, who's a living embodiment of weird links, including what we think is a strong one to this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, mostly due to financial agreements. Thiel also has deep links within the US government, as we've discussed. As Thiel relates to Discord, it's a four-step process. The age assurance note from Discord on its official announcement.
Do you think a better option would be a government-operated age authorization system, maybe with low data retention of the specific services people access? Personally, yeah. There's already a website. Is it fedid.gov or something? Like the federal government has some kind of weird ID system, but ideally being able to do that and like OAuth into things would be nice. But obviously there's going to be a whole plethora of issues related to the government having central ID. There's literally reasons for every single political movement to take issue with this. Republicans will hate it because they don't want a large central government tracking them everywhere. They'll feel like big government is looking at everything they're doing. They might think that the Democrats would use it to control who gets to own guns or not. Democrats might not like it because they think that Republicans will use it to, send ICE to Hispanic communities to bully people or to do some kind of authoritarian deep state lockdown on Antifa or whatever. Minorities might not like it because they have bad experiences with in the past of the government being able to mass track and surveil them. Like political parties might like. There's so many reasons why everybody would be politically opposed to that idea. But I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it. The idea of there just being like a government ID system and then you could just OAuth from that to everything else and it's just one centralized thing based on your ID and it's literally the government's like website. So I mean, like it's as reliable as your federal ID is. Ideally, that site would be as reliable as that is, But.
Announcement states, quote, important, if you're located in the UK, you may be part of an experiment where your information will be processed by an age assurance vendor, Persona. The information you submit will be temporarily stored for up to 7 days, then deleted. For ID document verification, all details are blurred except your photo and date of birth. So only what's truly needed for age verification is used, end quote. Wow, thanks, Discord. That is important.
Thanks, Steve.
Discord doesn't define what the experiment is, just that they're doing one. Persona might sound familiar to those who've watched our other videos in the series. The company is an identity verification tool producer that is used not only by Reddit, but which also received $200 million from the Founders Fund and appears to be in use by Discord now. The Founders Fund is a venture capital group that Peter Thiel runs. Peter Thiel is also a co-founder in the global surveillance apparatus Palantir. Wikipedia states, quote, an investment firm co-founded by Thiel accepted $40 million from Epstein, and the pair corresponded for at least 5 years before Epstein's death.
You are a Fed avoiding this. You always fail to mention the massive spying our government does through corporate partners. Apple, Microsoft, Verizon, AT&T, and others were directly supplying data secretly. It's not a fake conspiracy. Okay, let me clarify my position, all right? If the statement is, I think that the government engages on like pretty widespread citizen surveillance using private apps or whatever, yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. I don't even know if I would call that an open secret. I think most people acknowledge that the government can pull information from a lot of these different platforms, sometimes with subpoenas, sometimes without subpoenas. My claim more specifically was that people would avoid any type of ID from authorized by the federal government because they would just assume that the federal government is going to start using that to like target groups or take away your guns or whatever. But maybe you think that's happening too and that's a stronger claim. So if you want to think that, then that's fine. I don't care that much because I personally love no, I'm just kidding. I think that the obsession over like kids and porn and pedophiles or whatever, I think it's weird. I think probably 30% of the people involved in that discourse themselves jerk into fucking kiddie porn or want to fuck kids, and that's why they talk about it so fucking much. It's some weird projection. But if you want that to be your pet project, and if you think the most important fucking thing in the universe is trying to forbid a 14-year-old from seeing porn or whatever because that's going to irrevocably destroy their brain, then fine, you can have that position. But then I don't know why all those same people, and maybe it's not the same people, maybe this guy has given my take where he's like, I don't think this is as big a deal as people make it. And maybe, and if he does, then whatever. But like for all the people that are obsessing over that, to now be upset that, okay, well, now Discord's going to try some ID verification system. Like, what? Not ID verification. It's like, okay, what do you expect them to do? If you think that all the kids seeing the porn is the worst thing in the universe or getting groomed or whatever the fuck else, how else are they going to enforce ages or enforce, who's allowed to use what? Like, I don't know what people want. I just don't know what people are looking for. For Discord to hire a seer or a mystic that's going to divine the ages of people using the platform, or what's the...
End quote. On Persona, Byline Times reports, quote, Persona has faced lawsuits in the U.S. alleging that it retained the biometric data of food delivery drivers and that it used users' selfies to train AI models. This, breaking the quote here, is creepy as fuck. So you upload your information to allegedly validate yourself, and then it trains models on your face. Now, to continue this, Byline Times report also reads, quote, these are claims that Persona denies. Its privacy policy promises to delete face scans after 7 days, but vaguely allows data use for service improvement and, since 2025, requires users...
I don't disagree with you, but the only argument I've seen with any weight is that Discord just had a big data leak, so fuck try something. Who hasn't? Who hasn't? At this point. What, like Experian, the US government, our SF-86s to China with all the health information? Like, I feel like every single fucking massive thing has had huge fucking data leak. Like, who hasn't had a data breach? Are there people out there? If there are, then recommend them. Like, Jesus. True, DGG has not. True.
To waive their right to join class action lawsuits, end quote. So, in just a few short steps, Discord is connected to Epstein-associated and seemingly sugar baby Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal and mentor to Sam Altman of ChatGPT.
Tell me about your just communication lessons that you've learned from Peter Thiel. He comes up with these like very evocative, very short statements that really stick in your brain. And I don't know how to do that. I don't really know anybody else who does that.
The basic idea was that we could never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. That maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through a technological means. And this is where I think technology is this incredible alternative to politics.
Here's what happened. Before that, this video is brought to you by APNX and the V2 case, which uses a skeletal-like structure and tempered glass for a showcase PC.
Whoa.
Although the front side and top are tempered glass, the APNX V2 uses a perforated right side panel with fan mounts basically everywhere that's not a motherboard. The rear of the case also features large holes with optional additional fan mounts for a potential exhaust path. The case also has a central spine with a wrapping cable management cover that gives builds in the case a unique look. APNX's V2 has some modularity as well, such as swappable power supply and storage trays along the backside of the case. Learn more about the APNX V2 at the link in the description below. This comes at a time when more websites and governments than ever are requiring some form of ID just to use the internet, just to visit websites. And it starts with stuff that is harder for people to argue, or maybe it feels more embarrassing to talk about in public to oppose to argue, such as adult content, adult websites, as we've seen over the last several years now. And where
So what's your position on privacy? Is it a right? Is it necessary? Is it just hypocrisy being concerned about pedo stuff while pushing back against it, or what? What's your clear stance on this? I don't really give that much of a fuck about age verifying online shit, but then maybe that's because I'm a child of the internet who saw a bunch of fucked up shit when I was a kid, and I turned out just fine. I don't know what sound clip I have with that. I just don't care that much about it. But for the people that are obsessed with it, again, what have we said? What's the thing I've said like a million times in the past couple of weeks? Everything is a balancing test, okay? If you want to keep kids off of the internet, or you want to keep kids from watching porn or whatever, that's fine, but your privacy is not an absolute right there. At that point, you have to give up at least a little bit of privacy to verify your age. Otherwise, how are you going to figure out like who's a kid and who's not a kid if you're not doing some kind of age verification? If this is like a massively fucking important issue to you, then at some point you're going to have to figure out how you're going to balance that against your right to privacy, because I don't see how you would do it. And nobody seems to, or at least I haven't heard any strong ideas, so I don't know.
in the US, depending on the language we're using in a given video, you might need an ID to view our videos in about 25 states. But then it expands from that, from the harder to argue aspects, because people don't want to have the association of arguing on behalf of ID-less adult content websites. It spreads to things like Discord, which obviously has a wide range of uses, but most of them are pretty normal. And this is valuable information to tie to your ID and your online presence. We're attaching IDs to everything bears with it, we think, serious risks of, one, exposure.
Like, here's a suggestion for Discord. Why not just, like, ban not safe for work content on Discord? Do you need porn on Discord? Like, is that really an important thing for Discord? Not safe for work communities? Can't you just ban that? I don't know what else they want the ID for. Is it for using swear words, or... I don't even know what it means to have a teen account or whatever the fuck. So I don't know what restrictions Discord would apply to the account, but...
As in just vulnerabilities to different types of attacks, extortion, blackmail, but also future suppression of speech, such as via corporations and or governments. The good news is that you all already knew that. Google Trend search results for Discord and interest in Discord alternatives have surged to all-time highs. Alternatives like Stowe, Mumble, and others have been skyrocketing in interest, likely discovering audiences that never knew they even existed. We think you'd maybe be better off hosting your own solution. That's an idea for a separate video we're working on already. Because this will repeat, there's limitations.
People are saying that's going to kill Discord like Tumblr. I super disagree. If I had to guess, I feel like I'm totally throwing out random fucking numbers here, but I feel like it might have been up to 50% of Tumblr's traffic, maybe less than that, maybe 30 to 50% of Tumblr's traffic had to do with not safe for work content. My guess is like 80 to 90% plus of Discord's traffic, did I mix it up? Of Tumblr's traffic was not safe for work content. Probably less than 10% of Discord's traffic is not safe for work content. And also, the not safe for work type of content that you would see on Discord isn't even like a thing that can spread to the rest of the platform. Like on Tumblr, you can link other people your not safe for work Tumble posts, and they can Tumblr back, and they can all tumble together, and it's like the engagement, and it's part of the social media aspect. For Discord, not safe for work is usually tucked away in weird Discord servers or in weird not safe for work only rooms or whatever. I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think a ban on not safe for work content on Discord would have that big of an impact on the platform. I seriously doubt it.
More on that in the future, though. But in short, the situation It's got some interesting notes that we found when digging through some of the connections, so we're going to go through that today. On February 9th, Discord put out a press release which stated, quote, new and existing users worldwide will have a teen-appropriate experience by default, end quote. Discord will force user identification in early March, when it'll force users to choose between using facial age estimation software or uploading government-issued ID photos in order to access features such as, quote, age-restricted channels, servers, or commands, and select message requests. Discord's position, as the position ever is with corporations that do things like, for example, propose anti-net neutrality laws, is about protecting the children, which is admirable, if that's true, and if they actually do it. But again, you can put it up there with all of the anti-net neutrality legislation that falls under a title of protecting the children, but actually nests and hides within it all sorts of...
I don't know how many Discord servers you've been in, but there are so many not safe for work sharing threads and otherwise normal servers. Yeah, but isn't that usually like a minority of the people in the server that are participating? I think, did we ban all not safe for work from our Discord, from the DGG Discord? Or is that still allowed in mine?
Anti-humanity regulations as well. And of course, at a time when government associates are found all over the Epstein files, but we'll kind of leave that disgusting irony for another time, or maybe for Voidzilla. We think this is more about liability and about the ability to sell Discord in some sort of acquisition in the future or go to an IPO, because increasing the value of each individual account by attaching an ID to it would mean you verify these users are probably not bots. Well, we'll talk about how easy it is to trick these systems. And it means that you now have even more marketable data that you can package together. And so if you are Discord and you do sell, a company like Microsoft might be able to get a whole lot of value out of attaching that packet of data to this packet of data, and now you know basically everything about that person. That can be used in a lot of ways. To skirt around having to ask users to verify their age, the company also wrote, quote, Discord will implement its age inference model. Oh boy. A new system, they say, that runs in the background to help determine whether an account belongs to an adult.
Do you think it should be considered child abuse if a parent refuses to moderate a child's internet usage and where they navigate to? Yes. I think they should take your kid. If they find out that your kid has ever, in his entire life, seen a single pornographic image, they should fucking take your child away from you. Put him in foster care. I think that like 25 years ago or whatever, well, it's kind of weird. I was going to say back when I was a kid, there were legitimate arguments to be made about moderating your kid's internet usage. But keep in mind, like your kid's internet usage probably happened like on the family computer in the living room. People didn't have their own computers. Their cell phones couldn't go. There was no internet for cell phones. Okay, it was abysmal early on. Laptops were huge and bulky and clunky, and like, kids didn't have laptops to turn it. Like there was just like the internet was just a thing you did in the family room. And if your kid was like monitoring your kid's internet usage was about as easy, or maybe even easier than monitoring their TV usage. Like if you wanted to find some porn, you'd be surfing weird channels on your TV, you know, when you were a kid, trying to get the fuzzy pictures to come through, more likely than going onto the family computer and looking at porn, especially because kids didn't know how to delete history and everything. But that being said, the older people also didn't know how to use computers that well, so maybe they couldn't monitor it. But today, I think keeping your kid off the internet or keeping your kid from looking at weird internet shit is prohibitively impossible as a parent. I think the best thing you do is probably keep your line of communication open, because they've got cell phones that can access anything. They've got all these different pads, tablets, computers, laptops, friends' phones and laptops and computers and tablets, and every fucking device is connected to the internet, and there are ways to sneak around like so many different parental blocks, and kids are oftentimes more tech savvy than their parents or grandparents. Anybody, it's really, really difficult. Obviously, you should still do your best, I guess, to monitor your kids' internet usage, but it's a very, very challenging thing these days. Very, very, very challenging.
Model. Oh boy. A new system, they say, that runs in the background to help determine whether an account belongs to an adult, end quote. You don't want to upload an ID because you're worried about a future potential breach or something, and so instead it's running some unknown subroutine or whatever, like some sort of holodeck program in the background to monitor everything that you're doing. I mean, feasibly, that EXE may become an additional spyware vector. In an attempt to get ahead of the criticism, Discord stated that the, quote, video selfies for facial age estimation never leave a user's device, end quote. They also claimed that copies of government-issued IDs submitted to Discord's third-party vendors are, quote, deleted quickly, in most cases, immediately after confirmation, end quote. Not exactly reassuring. Also, deletion basically immediately, one, is not immediate. In an attempt to get ahead of the criticism, Discord stated that the, quote, video selfies for facial age estimation never leave a user to verify their age. The company also wrote, quote, Discord will implement its age inference model. Oh boy. A new system, they say, that runs in the background to help determine whether an account belongs to an adult, end quote. You don't want to upload an ID because you're worried about a future potential breach or something, and so instead it's running some unknown subroutine or whatever.
Like if his default position is just he's not going to trust anything the company says ever, then I mean, we can have that position, I guess. I don't even know if it would necessarily be the wrong position to take, but then it's kind of boring. Why even bother going through anything Discord says? Like, why not just say they're lying about everything and be done with it? Like, you can make an argument for a locally running program that verifies ID to be safer than any kind of central database, right? I look at like Redact, for instance. When I redact things on my computer using Redact the program, like all of that is done locally and it's on my computer. So there is no way that Redact can ever be hacked such that there's like a central repository for all of my deleted logs or whatever to be accessed from some central database because there's a locally running program. Now you can make the argument that you think that that's a bad idea for whatever reason, but if it's just like, oh, they're lying and I don't trust them for anything, it's like, okay, I guess. I mean, then, I mean, this is like a lose. Like, what do you want to do? what do you want to do? If you don't trust them for anything they say and they're lying and they're trying to hack and steal and cheat everything anyway, what are we doing here? I don't know.
Some sort of holodeck program in the background to monitor everything that you're doing. I mean, feasibly, that exe may become an additional spyware vector. In an attempt to get ahead of the criticism, Discord stated that...
Like everything can become an additional spyware vector. Would I argue this? That a locally running program doesn't have the same chance as becoming a spyware vector as... I mean, like, they both have different risks, I guess. Theoretically, if that thing were to somehow become compromised, I mean, somebody would have root access to your entire box, which would be a hugely horrible thing. But my guess is going to be that type of attack vector is going to be more difficult than a database leak online of stuff, which is going to leak a lot of information, but it won't be as bad as somebody having admin or root access to your system. I mean, it's all like, it's a trade-off. Like, what do you want to do, you know? Maybe instead of demanding state IDs have better moderation, almost every extremist cell/attack has communicated through Discord. What kind of moderation do you want when you say that? Do you think that Discord should be reading every single message that you send? Is that the next thing? Because these people would have a problem with that immediately next, right? That would be the next thing, no?
The, quote, video selfies for facial age estimation never leave a user's device, end quote. They also claim that copies of government-issued IDs submitted to Discord's third-party vendors are, quote, deleted quickly, in most cases, immediately after confirmation, end quote. Not exactly reassuring. Also, deletion basically immediately, one, is not immediate, and two, doesn't do anything about it if there's some sort of intercept where there's an exploit or an attacker that embeds itself in between the two endpoints, which is something that we have seen in attacks in the past. There's a lot of value in this data. There's a lot of motive to get it. If you're prompted to prove that you're an adult and aren't willing to do so, you won't be able to unblur what it thinks are sensitive images. You won't be able to access age-gated spaces, won't be able to access messages from strangers at all, and won't be able to speak on stage in servers. Now, a lot of this does make it sound like, okay, you're not in an 18+ space, no problem. But again, the problem is the fact that they are collecting identification in this form at all. It's big overreach for a company that can't be trusted. This age-gated measure isn't particularly new. Discord implemented it in the UK on July 21st, 2025 to comply with the country's controversial Online Safety Act, which pushed age verification on its denizens. As you may remember, if you're in the gaming space, this is when people started using Norman Reedus' face from Death Stranding to circumvent the age verification check. Discord has since said they've addressed that particular workaround, and now we're left wondering if Norman Reedus can't be verified as an adult in the UK. In a weird PR move, Discord also said that it aims to protect teenagers by subjecting a so-called council of 10 to 12 of them to their first corporate focus group. Welcome to the real world. Isn't it fun? Discord says it is, quote, giving teens a seat at the table by announcing recruitment for its inaugural teen council, end quote, which it says will bring, quote, authentic teen perspectives into how Discord shapes their experience, end quote.
How do you do, fellow kids?
As for why Discord is doing all this, the UK Online Safety Act was the catalyst, wanting to avoid heavy fines in the UK, which can amount to upwards of 10% of the company's worldwide revenue. Discord complied with the British law beginning July 21st last year. Months later, on December 9th, Discord also expanded its age verification measures in Australia to comply with that country's Online Safety Amendment, which was enacted in late 2025. Discord is now pushing it globally to get ahead of mounting calls to enact regulations more broadly. For instance, countries like France and Spain are moving to ban social media access for those under 16. That may or may not be a good idea. It's worth talking about, but it doesn't really matter for this. What matters is that those types of regulation serve as awfully good cover fire for corporations like Discord to change their policies, to start collecting identification and building profiles on you that will become even more valuable as marketing as we get further into this AI fuckery that exists now, where, again, it's the reference we keep bringing up, but as has been shown in places like More Perfect Union, there's grocery stores that'll price discriminate based on who the store thinks you are when you're standing in front of a shelf. Stretch it to things like Discord. All of that data is really valuable. The problem with all this is simple. 2 months after Discord started asking for IDs the first time to comply with the UK Online Safety Act, an unknown entity breached Discord's third-party service that handled those IDs. On October 3rd, 2025, Discord wrote that it had, quote, recently discovered an incident where an unauthorized party compromised one of our third-party vendors, end quote. In terms of the data that was compromised, Discord shared that it included Discord usernames, emails, limited billing information, which could likely include all or part of addresses.
The crazy thing is a Discord leak had usernames tied to everything. I don't know why the third-party verification service would need the username passed to them at all versus an anonymous token or something. Yeah, I don't know the details of what got leaked before, but yeah, that would make sense.
IP addresses, which are a major vector, customer service messages, corporate data, and last but not least, what they call, quote, government ID images, end quote. Well, this information is valuable. Having IP addresses and hardware configurations which are already collected by websites can be combined, bought, sold, traded, acquired on the internet, whether through bad actors or through just bad actors that are incorporated somewhere legally. And the end result of this is that it is useful not only for...
I mean, the token would then be assigned to your username, right? Yeah, but you wouldn't know who that is. Like, imagine if I passed a thing to you and I asked you, can you verify token ABC123? And you said, yes, they're of age. Well, you know that ABC123 is of age, but then I say thank you. But then when I get ABC123 back, I know that that's tied to the Discord account Destiny. So the token thing would anonymize the information being passed from the Discord server to whoever the third-party authenticator is.
or advertising to you in potentially adversarial ways, but also for things like blackmail vectors or extortion or really social engineering attempts that may just open up scam opportunities. Now, the good news in all of this is that there isn't any evidence of attempted extortion. Quote, the numbers being shared are incorrect and part of an attempt to extort a payment from Discord, end quote. Okay, a little bit of extortion, just a small amount of extortion. But all of this data, no matter how...
Hold on, wait, what? I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood this.
All, quote, government ID images, end quote. Now, this information is valuable. Having IP addresses and hardware configurations which are already collected by websites can be combined, bought, sold, traded, acquired on the internet, whether through bad actors or through just bad actors that are incorporated somewhere legally. And the end result of this is that it is useful not only for advertising to you in potentially adversarial ways, but also for things like blackmail vectors or extortion or really social engineering attempts that may just open up scam opportunities. Now, the good news in all of this is that there isn't any evidence of attempted extortion. Quote, the numbers being shared are incorrect and part of an attempt to extort a payment from Discord, end quote. Okay, a little bit of extortion, just a small amount of extortion.
Okay, that sentence right there doesn't say anything. Unless I'm misunderstanding something. The extortion thing, the bad thing for extortion would be somebody finds your information in a data breach, gets some like embarrassing information about you, and then says that they're going to communicate that information to your family unless you pay them some amount of money. That's extortion. If somebody says, oh, people are lying about what's been leaked from Discord in an attempt to extort us, that's not really the type of extortion that people are talking about or worried about. That's a totally different thing, but I don't know. Okay.
But all of this data, no matter how uninteresting of a target you might think you are today, you don't know how interesting you're going to be tomorrow and for what purpose. Because it may feel like, well, it's just a gaming account. I mean, really, how much on there is useful if I'm talking to people that play video games and then I play video games and it happens to know what games I play and for how long. It might seem like relatively useless information, or maybe the worst they do is use it to sell stuff to you, which, okay, it's easy to be apathetic towards that. That's what the internet does. But it all comes down to just not making it too easy to continually compile this stuff because we don't know how it's going to be useful or who's going to want to use it. As we said earlier, Discord previously elaborated, quote, of the account impacted globally, we have identified approximately 70,000 users that have had government ID photos exposed, which our vendor used to review age...
Wait, can you hear me? Did you find any humidifiers in the other building? Oh, okay. Here's a blueprint if you need it. Good luck. Fucking piece of shit. Motherfucker.
Appeals, end quote. This conflicts with information from attackers, which included the attackers claiming possession of 2.1 million government ID photos and data from 5.5 million unique users via Zendesk support. Discord previously told Bleeping Computer, quote, first, as stated in our blog post, this was not a breach of Discord, but rather a third-party service we used to support our customer service efforts, end quote. The company divulged that the attack was done to, quote, extort a financial ransom from Discord, end quote. Apparently, a ransom of $5 million, later reduced to $3.5 million per Bleeping Computer, and Discord said, quote, we will not reward those responsible for their illegal actions, end quote, which is really just a less cool way of saying we don't negotiate with terrorists. So Discord seemingly didn't negotiate, didn't pay out, and we still don't know what that means for your data. Somebody has it if you were in that group. Bleeping Computer at the time said that the attackers, quote, gained access to Discord's Zendesk instance for 58 hours, beginning on September 20th, 2025, end quote, and also that, quote, attackers claims to have stolen 1.6 terabytes of data, including around 1.5 terabytes of ticket attachments and over 100 gigabytes of ticket transcripts, end quote, apparently spread across 8.4 million tickets with 580,000 containing payment information per Bleeping Computer. A Discord through a third-party vendor.
What does that mean? Oh, the hackers say that 580,000 containing some sort of payment information. Oh, that could be really bad or that could be irrelevant. That could be like everything starred except the last 4 numbers of a credit card number, which would be relevant, or that could be full billing details. But it says some sort of payment info. So I guess it's probably not much, I guess. I don't know.
Across 8.4 million tickets with 580,000 containing payment information per Bleeping Computer. A Discord through a third-party vendor under the bus.
This also means they hold on to the info while saying they delete it. Well, this is about payment info. And what is Zendesk? I'm guessing that's like, I always say Jira. I don't know what the fuck Jira is. Is Zendesk some program that helps you go through tickets for IT or whatever? It's a ticket system. Yeah, okay. So it sounds like they got access to that somehow. Who knows how? Not good.
But Discord chose that vendor. It chose what to request. And it chose how to resolve the issue. It's really a Discord problem. But that's last time. Back to today. While trying to soothe the PR nightmare from this most recent global rollout, a Reddit user who claims to be a Discord employee and goes by Discord Zorkian on the Discord app subreddit admitted this, quote, if you do end up in the ID bucket, then yeah, you're right, that has some risk, end quote. You can find that quote in our latest installment of Things the Lawyers Really Wish Weren't in Writing. Andrew Smith, who serves as a cybersecurity expert at Kyocera Document Solutions UK, predicted this could happen back in July of 2025, telling metro.co.uk, quote,
if they actually had something, the extortion would have worked? I don't think so. I feel like, I don't know why you would ever pay off somebody extorting or blackmailing you, because they can always just get infinite. Like, has that ever worked ever? I guess if it did, we wouldn't know about it, huh? Because somebody's blackmailing or extorting you, they can just keep doing it forever. Or they could just release it afterwards. Am I lagging or is this game lagging? Unless they've like, the only way I can see this working, or the circumstances where I see it working, is if they actually like hold the key to a thing and they're trying to blackmail or extort you, because then you can like trade for a thing. So like and because they have a reputation that they need to protect. So when your computer gets like encrypted by some bullshit program you download, and they're like, you know, send $500 of Bitcoin to this and we'll send you the decryption key. They have an incentive there to help you decrypt your system, because if they don't, then nobody's ever going to pay off people that, you know, glitch your fucking computer and encrypt your drive, because they'll know that they'll never get it. Hey, I'm gonna die to this. Why did I even try this? Fuck you.
Whilst many services claim they do not collect or retain data for a minimum period, data is still collected at the point of transfer, unquote. He added, quote, with the increasing prevalence of cybercrime, there is a risk of data breaches occurring, which can severely impact privacy, end quote, again to metro.co.uk. As a reminder to why even intermediary services can be a risk that you might not expect, Notepad++ recently suffered a vulnerability wherein attackers embedded themselves on the shared hosting server, so not even necessarily within the application, within Notepad++, but on the shared host, and then would strategically intercept certain downloads to what they considered to be, I believe Notepad++ called it, high-value targets for downloads for updates that were getting pushed to the application. So it could sit there dormant, lying in wait to target, however they may do that. IP address is certainly an option, and look for things like government infrastructure or anything that may be of value, corporate connections, for example, and then embed the attacks within those sessions for the users.
This is why every single time I download a program, I compare the checksums all the time, right? You guys do too, right?
And this is just another example of how this stuff can be used in ways that might not seem like it matters that much today, but something like attaching an IP address to a user account, you don't know how that's going to be valuable one day. Facial age estimation likewise has problems. It may seem like the lesser of the two evils, but it's an imperfect system, even if it theoretically never leaves your device. One issue is that facial age estimation is a biometric analysis that can be wrong, and its accuracy is based on race, gender, and could be impacted by disability. Better yet, it can be impacted by video games, because video games can beat these services, like Death Stranding. Feasibly, you could use modern AI solutions to do this too. One YouTuber was able to change her Roblox age verification result by about 3 years by changing her makeup. In an extreme example of I guess permanent makeup, the so-named King of Ink, who has been referred to as Britain's most tattooed man, says that he could not use facial age estimation as a result of his tattoos. He said that this prohibited his ability to access adult content. Quote, some of the websites are asking for picture verification, like selfies, and it's not recognizing my face, end quote, he told metro.co.uk. According to the publication, he, quote, feels discriminated against on the basis of his permanent identity, end quote. And to be fair, pretty identifiable guy. abc.net.au collected testimony of age verification errors, with one person writing in to say, quote, my 13-year-old son has passed the age verification.
Like, I'm curious, by the end of this, does he take a strong position on whether or not he thinks there should be any kind of age verification on Discord? This is just like the current moral panic is about the pedophile shit and all the kids, and I'm curious if he has a position on it. If his position, then it is. I don't give a fuck. Maybe kids will access bad shit. You know, leave it up to the parents to regulate and moderators as best they can. Then I think that's a fair position. I think it's fair for him to take this position then, because introducing any kind of ID verification is going to, no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, it will involve some risk. It has to. You're just... like definitionally, anytime you are required to put more information anywhere, you're introducing some risk, some attack vectors. I mean, there's no way to avoid that. One logically entails the other.
Face scan by hiding his teeth and scrunching up his face. It guessed his age as 30 plus. In real life, he passes for a 10-year-old, end quote. Ars Technica also reported that a teenage girl was able to pass the check simply by using fake eyelashes. Now, community sentiment around this news, Discord PR, this is the part for you, all right? This is your section. The community sentiment is what you would call not good. It's not really like a PR specialist word. It's literally just not good. Over on the
no, this guy's not about to take my fucking... Bro, I need these. I need these for my stupid fucking account. Can you not? Motherfucker.
Privacy subreddit, people are saying they'll leave the platform with users like Cookie Snooper, which is a particularly fitting name, stating, quote, and to Discord we're saying bye-bye, end quote. Fellow Redditor Ivovis chimed in and added, quote, best we stop using it today, end quote. This was followed up by, I deleted TikTok over this. Discord can follow. Another user added, quote, I barely use Discord, I won't be supplying a face scanner ID, end quote. Over on the PC Gaming subreddit, a user reportedly stated, quote, hell, Discord has already had one ID breach, why the fuck would anyone verify on it after that, end quote. A user over on the Discord app subreddit shared a similar point, quote, just 4 months ago, Discord announced that their third-party vendor used for age-related appeals had multiple pieces of identifying data breached, including government IDs. We haven't forgotten, end quote. Over on the PC Master Race subreddit, there are calls for people to cancel Discord's premium Nitro subscription service, leading to some level of panic and damage control for Discord because that actually affects their money. People are now already looking at alternative solutions with users
like and listen, I'm not trying to sim for big business, although I love sim for big business. But like, how does that make sense? Explain that to me. They want ID verification? I'm not giving you my ID. I would never do that. I'm going to cancel my Discord Nitro. Wait, Discord Nitro? Yes. The thing that you paid for by giving them all of your payment information? So you must have given them your, what, address and all the information connected to a credit card? Yes. It's like, okay, so, but you don't want them to have your, like a picture of your ID? No. It's like, What? Okay. Okay.
Like this one posted on the privacy subreddit asking for options other than Discord, saying, quote, I will not upload my fucking ID anywhere, end quote. Over on the technology subreddit, a user stated, quote, time to go back to TeamSpeak, end quote. Not a bad idea. Maybe we can reintroduce Ventrilo as well. I think I still have an active Ventrilo server with some kind of web hosting company for like $20
To be fair,
a year.
I don't think the moral panic is about online grooming as much as it centers around billionaire pedo islands. Wouldn't it be fair to separate the two? I'm not even, when I say the current obsession, I'm sorry, maybe I need to clarify this. When I say the current obsession is with pedophilia, I don't mean to imply the Epstein stuff, although, I mean, that's a thing too. I mean, like everybody right now, Ethan Klein and Hassan and all the Discord people and all the YouTubers making commentary videos, like everybody's obsessed with like, this guy's a pedophile, this guy's a pedophile. Didn't Nux just have a thing come out where like he was grooming minors on Discord, he's a pedophile? Like the thing right now is like everything is pedophilia. Pedophilia is hot as fuck right now, okay? You haven't made, or if you want to get a big YouTube channel, make a video about pedophiles, because that's what everybody wants to see, okay?
For probably about 20 years now. I think that, oh no, I think it's actually more than that. Okay. All right, we're going to move on from that. Just saying, Vent, maybe still an option. But speaking to The Verge, on a story published, the
payment providers are way more secure. They have been around longer. Yeah, but you have to pass your payment info through to the company in order for them to get it. Unless you're... Sometimes, I don't know why this is used sometimes. Sometimes there's like an API that the credit card people provide. I don't know why that's not... Like, I feel like for Visa or who? Or like you have to log into their thing and then okay it. Sometimes it happens, but...
The same day of the announced rollout, Savannah Battledge, who is Discord's global head of product policy, shared that the company expected blowback and stated, quote, we do expect there will be some sort of hit there, and we are incorporating that into what our planning looks like, end quote, referring to the hit from users not liking this. Quote, we'll find other ways to bring users back, end quote. See, now that sounds like a statement that will appease investors. And to users, it sounds completely sociopathic.
You'll be back. Do you store our payment info? No, when you make a payment for a DGG sub, that's instantly offlined into a Word doc that goes right to my desktop, so I have all of it logged right on my computer. But DGG itself doesn't, because once it gives it to me, it's deleted. So only I get all of it.
Do you belong to me? It's also just some insane ego for Discord. Discord thinks that it's so great that it can remain alive indefinitely. But as someone, like probably many of you, who has been through the rise and fall of many services for chatting, like AIM, how's that for a throwback? Yahoo Messenger, MSN Messenger, Xfire, Skype is a big one. These things, they come and go. And it's really, they're a dime a dozen at this point, although IRC is still around. It's just a matter of time for Discord.
There's always a bigger fish.
One of the most interesting pathways is to self-host something for those who don't need access to the entire internet of people to connect with. This is less feasible, where you may interact with more sort of random people day by day, like from gaming servers, you want to add someone new, but it works great for existing friend groups or companies or groups of people who really can just stay on one platform. And we're considering taking all of our own chat services internal, since we refuse to attach identification to company accounts. But as for Discord right now, they're in damage control mode. Following mass criticism after the initial announcement, the next day, February 10th, Discord tried to do damage control. The company took to Twitter and wrote, quote, for the majority of adult users, we will be able to confirm your age group using information we already have. We use age prediction to determine with high confidence when a user is an adult. This allows many adults to access age-appropriate features without completing an explicit age check, end quote. Really reassuring.
I am so... He didn't say it all in this video, right? I'm so curious how much of Discord's content centers around adult stuff. It can't be that much. That'd be my assumption.
Discord, thanks. Instead of, we need your ID to do this, it's now become, we already know anyway. I mean, it's just, the ID is really just a formality at this point. The concern with these types of solutions is that you end up in a 23andMe type of situation where even if you absolutely refuse to put your DNA in a polymailer and send it off to a private corporate lab somewhere to be analyzed and then sucked into a database on the internet, if your estranged aunt and uncle you haven't seen in 20 years decide to do that, then you are also starting to be added to that database. In these DNA situations, you can start to triangulate users. And it's kind of the same for social media, where if your friends on a platform like Discord upload their ID and they comply, maybe they're not as informed on the situation or whatever it may be, now suddenly by being associated with you, the platform can start to figure out who you are, how old you might be, maybe just literally who you are based on your friends who've uploaded their own identifying information. So now they don't just have a username, the company also has potentially a name, maybe they can point at something like Facebook and start to build a full profile on that person. There's pathways to crawl back to you. So whether or not you comply, the problem is that anyone who does is putting everyone else at risk because of this ability to triangulate the data and who's who. I think this is something that a lot of people, it's easy to forget that part of it, but this stuff's pretty smart these days.
2026 is the year for open source Discord alternatives. True, we need more open source social media. Anybody else want to add me on Mastodon, on the Mastodon instance that I'm running on a thing where I know that the username looks similar to another one, but you have to put the ad at the end to show you which instance of Mastodon my account is running on. And anybody else?
Especially with AI tools, where as much as they get memed on, there are a few things that they can be pretty good at, and one of them is connecting links and building these sort of webs. And the same goes for services like Discord, where they can get you one way or the other, and the rest is a formality. The company went on in damage control mode to say, quote, facial scans never leave your device. Discord and our vendor...
Yeah, the solution for all of this really is we're just waiting for the AI to get sophisticated enough so we can say, AI, Please solve this problem. And then AI will give us the magical solution to everything. Hell yes.
Partners never receive it. IDs are used to get your age only and then deleted. Discord only receives your age. That's it. Your identity is never associated with your account, end quote. So they're sort of pre-contesting what a lot of our concerns are, which is what we would expect them to do. The post continued, quote, in a minority of cases when additional confirmation is required, we offer multiple privacy-forward options. It doesn't mean fucking anything, by the way, through trusted partners, end quote. And considering Discord puts its trust in a partner that leaked at least 70,000 IDs, if not millions of data points, it has already proven why no one can be trusted with this data. Discord continued, quote, we will not use your age assurance information to target you with advertisements, and we don't sell your data. You can control how we use your data, end quote. Yeah, gonna press X on that. But let's assume that's true. Let's assume it's written in blood, and they'll sacrifice the CEO at an altar. I don't know, maybe it'll be one of Wendell's server cabinets or something, in order to prove that they're not going to abuse this information. The concern we have as ever is, for example, when a company wants to acquire this other company, where Microsoft previously was rumored to be interested in buying Discord. Microsoft is basically the perfect type of company. They're exactly the right level of evil and incompetent to pull something off where they buy it and they go, fuck the agreements, do it anyway, and we'll just pay a couple.
Okay, like, maybe there's examples of this going wrong or whatever, but just because you buy a company, I'm pretty sure you still have to adhere to the agreements that the company signed. Like, unless you're buying off assets from a bankrupted company or whatever, and then even at that, there still might be agreements attached to it. The idea that, like, imagine if I bought some company, what would I even think of? Like, I buy a hospital and I just kick everybody out. And I'm like, go die now. We're taking in rich patients. I'm pretty sure if you buy a company, then all of the... Well, no, it has to, because the company still exists as the company. You would have to, like... You'd either have to, like, formally dissolve the company, or the company would have to be going bankrupt and you're buying off assets, individual assets from the company. But just so you buy a company doesn't mean it should be released from all of its agreements prior to that. Now, he was about to make a meme where it's like they just want to pay the legal fees or whatever, which, I mean, that would be a different problem you want to go through then. Maybe the penalties need to be bigger or something, but... Does it upset you, or do you dislike that people online are so obsessed with hunting down pedos? Why? You keep talking about it in a tone that gives away you think it's a bad thing. People are obsessed with hating pedophiles because they're closing it on me every day, and I'm getting more nervous by the week. It's just like, it's one of those like low-hanging fruit things, like for the kids, and then people obsess over it, and then they start to see it everywhere. And then also, like, the conversations around, like, grooming and pedophilia online are always, like, the most fucking retarded conversations because nobody knows what... Or people's definitions of grooming basically boil down to, like, an adult try to fuck a kid, which is just, like, pedophilia or child porn or something. Like, I don't know why we're saying grooming. And then everything becomes grooming, and it's just weird, and it just feels like very performative and cringe. I don't know. I mean, like, if you find pedophiles and you are, especially if you see people fucking hurting kids or doing crazy shit online, you should absolutely fucking report it. And I think it's worth covering. But, like, the weird, like, obsession that people have from it, I don't know what it is about children. I guess because they're the ultimate version of, like, human innocence, I guess. People just, who, like, obsess over it, just comes off as very performative and cringe to me.
$1 million later, but yeah, what we're gonna make now, that'll be worth it. You know, likewise, even if they don't keep the ID on file, and all they've done is make some sort of association in a database that your account is a verified end user of a minimum age or greater, that's still valuable, again, in an acquisition, where now a company like Microsoft...
Sextortion is the big thing now. It's really fucking scary. I don't know why we had to call extortion involving porn sextortion. I do agree that's a bad thing. Is this unique to minors, though? Also, people, because I've known friends where this has happened, people try to extort you using sexual images and stuff when they don't even have them. Like, people will just, like, randomly message accounts, and they'll be like, I got nudes of you and blah, 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 and I'm going to message your whole family unless you send me however much money. Actually, it's usually not that aggressive. It'll come off as sounding a little bit friendlier, but at the end of the day, it's like an extortion attempt. But oftentimes, they'll do this when they don't even have, you know, those pictures. They just say random shit, but...
can connect this to your maybe offline Windows 11 local account or something and start to really piece together some valuable information, and they do put ads in that. And so whether or not Discord says they're going to sell the information to advertisers, the point remains that it can be used that way. Following its compliance to the UK Online Safety Act, Discord partnered with, we kid you not, KID to handle age verification. Discord reiterated that it uses KID in a support page that was updated 2 months ago. So we looked into the company. KID provides a platform that helps gaming and tech companies comply with age verification regulations. Big names use KID, including Meta, Hasbro, and Twitch. And looking through KID's privacy policy, it states, quote, if you engage with our services either through an online service or support through Family Connect, we receive your approximate city level location from your device's IP address, end quote. Except an IP address is a lot more than city level data. It's weasel wording, where technically they're correct. IP data can get you to city level geopositioning, geolocation. If you know what you're doing, you get a little further.
Oh, the idea is like you sex somebody to get something, and then you extort them afterwards. Oh, with that. Oh, hey, I know somebody that's happened too. Sure, I guess. I mean, it's still just extortion, but people want to make it, give a different word to it. Okay.
that, but it is mostly roughly accurate to say that statement. But an IP address is also one of the best methods to tie data packages to each other, and they're not talking about that, and that's for a reason. Regarding age information, the post continues, quote, we receive age information through a variety of sources, including from you directly through third-party age signals, or via our automated tools, end quote. It isn't clear what third-party age signals and automated tools actually means here. Diving deeper into KID, we found that one of the company's so-called chief evangelists, whatever that means, is a woman named Baroness Joanna Shields, who previously served in that position during at least 2020. The American-British woman is a former politician who was Minister for Internet Safety and Security in the UK between 2015 and 2017. Eventually, she was appointed as the Prime Minister's special representative on Internet crime and harm, where she served in that role until 2018. Shields has also been a proponent for the UK's Online Safety Act, which started all of this. In a blog post published on July 18, 2024, she reflected, quote, there have been recent positive developments in legislation, including the UK Online Safety Act, end quote. On her LinkedIn page, she also recently shared she's proud of the recent partnership between KID and Discord. Just like in the US, there's a lot of crossover between politics and private enterprise.
Ethan Klein literally spent $10,000 on a billboard to bring attention to an alleged child groomer he's been obsessed with for years. So they're actually trying to, at the very least, work with law enforcement, actually bring a case against them. Is it James Charles? Am I fucking that up? This is like the guy who's like super gay online, or something. I don't know anything about these people. I feel like I've seen his videos before. I remember hearing him about him. Okay, did he actually groom somebody? I don't even know why they don't like each other. I don't know anything about it.
Enterprise. This makes it difficult to know how pure intentions
I did see the billboards though, because that H3 subreddit talked about him a lot, but I have no idea what the context is to any of that. So, other than I know that Ethan is very spy driven. So.
Are for these people. Maybe Shields legitimately really cares about the subject and is trying to champion it from both the public and private sector. We don't know. But we just find it weird that former government position holding people happen to align with new private sector positions. It's especially strange when looking at how much money the age verification industry is generating. But maybe it's just a passion of hers.
Has anybody talked about, or is this too scary or whatever, like that you could... I wonder if there's a child mode on cell phones that make it so that you can't take nude pictures. Because I know if you've used phones for any amount of time, phones have been able to detect not safe for work content for a while now. Because as soon as like Google and Apple started to have the ability to show you like, oh, here's like your memories or whatever, like they always leave out, like if you ever have like, if you've ever taken not safe for work videos before, those never show up there. So I'm pretty sure they've had a way to detect these for a while. But hi. But there must be some parent mode. I wonder if the parent mode just blocks them from taking pictures at all though. Who knows? I don't know.
Genuine. We're not sure. It does seem strange, though. As it turns out, there's a rapidly growing...
What? If you keep your gun out, I feel like I should just kill you. Right? I think that's fair, right? Why not put your gun away? He should know how to, no? Yeah. Oh, fuck. I don't ever win this now. Oh my god. Oh. No, he's trying to kill me. This guy is. He's bad. I'm just trying to extract. I just need humidifiers. I'm chilling. This guy said he was friendly and then he tried to kill me. 100%. Kill him and loot him. I mean, I'm not even lying. Got him!
Growing identity arms race, of which KID is a part. That's worth billions of dollars now. Future Market Insights wrote, quote, the identity verification market is projected to rise from USD $14.1 billion in 2026 to $42.8 billion by 2036, recording a 13.1% compound annual growth rate, end quote. It's possible this is an industry that's largely, or at least in part, propped up under the guise of protecting children while selling a solution that may line the pockets of those in power. It doesn't help that billion.
I also don't like this, like, I understand we gotta hate firms and hate billionaires and all this, but like, anything that makes the platform better should also theoretically help investors, right? Like, if you're investing in a platform, the platform's doing things that are attracting more users and are making the platform better, that's also going to help invest. Like, ideally, there's going to be an alignment between these goals, you know? Now, there are things that maybe they could do that would be bad for the average user that would also help investors, which he's kind of making the argument for. But you can't just say over and over again, I know this will help investors. I know this will help investors. I know this will help. Well, talk about why the thing is bad. Stop saying it'll help investors. Like, things that are good for the platform should also help investors if they want to see more user growth or whatever.
in power are ones driving all of this given the recent news. Discord isn't an island here. While Discord says that it will quickly delete copies of your ID, we're not sure what quickly means. In general, the energy coming from the company right now is gaslighting and ego, where when called out, it says that it's not really going to be that bad. And then when confronted with how bad it is, at least from a user exodus situation, they say, we're going to get you back anyway, we'll have some features. But Discord has shown that it can't be trusted, and Discord forgets that it is just one of a million other chat applications that have all come and gone before it, and it's not special. Discord undermined its credibility to protect user data once already. It should not be trusted here. It shouldn't have been trusted the first time either.
He says that, but I feel like, I don't know why or what led to this environment. I feel like applications and games and everything, I feel like are way more sticky than they used to be. Whereas things would come and go all the time. I feel like now, if you have a thing that's thoroughly embedded into the market, it feels like it's very hard for it to go away. Because I guess because users just get attached to a particular platform and then they don't want to move or go anywhere else, which is annoying.
But now especially, and pushing users to submit their IDs to third-party sites provides a treasure trove of data for bad actors to prey upon, or bad actors that are legally protected as corporations. It's dangerous and gives up details like addresses, birth dates, the latter of which can be used to potentially get access to sensitive content like medical records. A lot of hospitals, you call them, you give them a name and a birth date, and you'll get a lot of information with just that. It is useful, in the very least, for social engineering as well. And again, one of our
There's no way, right? Is that true? That feels like that would be way too easy to do.
Concern is the ability for non-compliant, unconsenting users to be triangulated by the nature of how these tools work, where your friends who surround you create the vector to draw a line straight to you and identify who you are. And this is, again, I think one of the least obvious use cases of this type of technology, where you can get everyone even if they're not a participant. Discord's argument is that it's trying to protect teenagers. But as we mentioned, kids are finding ways to bypass the systems anyway. And likewise, such systems, ironically, I think, prey on them the most, because the kids who actually have to deal with this stuff, first of all, there's a concern of sort of that generational gap, not by age, by technology, where over time, it just takes one generation that has only ever known this approach to the internet, uploading your ID to use a thing, to suddenly think that everybody else is a tinfoil hat wearing crazy person. Okay, look, this does not help my case right now, but the point is, as we get deeper into this version of the internet, the people coming up now, the children who these companies claim they are trying to protect, are not going to know anything else. And it might be really the only reasonable way, they think, to gain access to some of these things, or they're just not aware of the risks yet. Because it does take a certain level of maturity and of being around the block for a while on the internet to really understand just how truly, absolutely fucked you are the minute you put one piece of information like an ID literally anywhere, because it's game over after that. You cannot put that genie back in the bottle once it's out. The best thing you can do is try to mitigate how many other sites have access to that type of information, but it's better to never upload it at all to anything for these types of services in particular. And we think the kids that they claim they're protecting are exactly the ones who are going to fall prey to this, because they won't know any better when they hit 18 or 16 or whatever the magical date range year is that these companies dictate is okay for you to start using the special feature that you want, or starting to gamble on skins for your account or whatever it may be. But it also just doesn't work anyway. In the Ask Brits subreddit, for instance, people are sharing inventive workarounds, which include pointing people to a service called Use Their ID, which is a site that uses AI-generated mock driving licenses of UK Parliament members as a stand-in for identification. Even if Discord doesn't force ID collections, its age inference model isn't much better and reeks of surveillance. As Discord told The Verge, quote, Discord's age inference model uses account information such as account tenure, device and activity data, and aggregated high-level patterns across Discord communities, unquote. Regardless of whatever Discord says, the reality is that this data is valuable to advertisers and, if they exist in the future, at least in a public capacity, shareholders. For instance, the company can say they know for certain they have X number of verified adults who are assuredly not bots. This also looks good for interested investors. Speaking of which, this worldwide rollout in early March again also coincides with IPO paperwork filings that suggest Discord is looking to go public in March. And what a coincidence that is. That sure would be a useful time to know exactly how many non-bot users you have and how valuable those users are, what their income might be.
I mean, it would also be a valuable time to make sure that kids aren't getting extorted or that child porn isn't being spread on your platform as well, right? Like, this was a huge pressure that was put on all the porn companies from the credit card people too. So again, like, I'm not trying to say their intentions are pure or noble. Like, maybe they are planning on doing some big data dump in the future, but these incentives also align with maybe the company just wants to be a better company so it doesn't get fucked by some crazy shit like that in the future. Maybe, who knows? I don't know.
Be where specifically they live, so you can start to, in the very least, look at the aggregate demographics of that exact specific location, again, including the income levels of that demographic region, or if you've got their address through an ID, you might as well look up what the house costs too. All of that is valuable, and if Discord starts becoming a problem for people, they should start fleeing the service, and that's happening now. For us at GN, we're considering moving everything to internal services, because I'm not going to start uploading IDs, certainly not employee IDs, for a tool like this. It makes no fucking sense. Like, there's other tools out there, a lot of them, and at this point, we think it's worth looking at alternatives. The concern is, again, that this might kind of just happen to all of them that gain success if they are in a position to gain that success to begin with. If you self-host, not a concern, and you no longer have to worry about migrating your whole life and all your friends to new platforms every time this happens. Problem is, self-hosting, not as easy, obviously, and also it's a gigantic barrier to entry where now, if you want to connect with someone new, you make a new friend in Counter-Strike or whatever, you got to explain to them how to go download this app and then get them to connect to your server you made or whatever. It's obviously a huge burden and it's cumbersome, but it does work great for specific groups. It'd work well for us. It'd probably work well for people who have fixed friend groups where you don't...
Wait. Self-hosting what? Is he talking about building a custom application or self-hosting some other app that I didn't hear about?
maybe play with the same D&D group for 20 years or whatever. There's not much reason for them to be bouncing around between new apps every time. So anyway, stuff to think about. There's some apps out there like Spacebar, Discord.
Something like Matrix? Okay, I don't know anything about Matrix. Does Matrix never have security vulnerabilities or never have issues that pop up with that? That's like a program that's always 100% safe and secure? Because there's like, you run into this weird issue where if you use a really large program, there's a lot more people that are trying to compromise the large program because there's a huge reward for cracking it and gaining access to a ton of user data. That's like the con. But the pro is that large programs will have better support. So if there are vulnerabilities that come out, you've got a huge team of people that are actively working to fix these things and to make sure that they don't, or that they don't happen at all. You've got penetration testers and all these other people. The benefit of using smaller programs or smaller self-hosted things, I guess, is that there are going to be way less people trying to compromise your particular thing. But the trade-off to that is you usually have a much smaller amount of people, and by that I mean usually nobody, that's actively checking for vulnerabilities, and you're not going to be getting like security patches or updates or anything because it's just your own self-made thing or some much smaller thing that has far less support behind it than a larger corporate entity or whatever. I mean, like, there's pros and cons to each. Obviously, you have to figure out what's appropriate for you. But it's not like one is just like clearly superior and better, even from a security standpoint, right?
Stowed, etc. We'll probably talk about those in a separate piece, though. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. This is part of the AI dystopia coverage series at this point. Unfortunately, you can go to store.gamersnexus.net to support us and that series, or patreon.com/gamersnexus. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you. Bro, this video is 3 hours long. At Destiny, literally every single company that does the ID for safety has either a data breach or just sells its user info. You saying they just want to be better is just stupid. That's not what I said. I'm saying that if they did want to be better, that incentive would also align with makes the company more valuable. So just saying that a thing will make a company more valuable, therefore it's probably bad for you, is not a good argument.
Interested in that big question of God's existence. Hey, I'm going on a tour of the United Kingdom. If you've ever been interested in that big question of God's existence, or try to make sense of religion in the 21st century, or consciousness, or anything philosophical, then join me on stage as I try to work out some of these topics with you. I'll be in conversation with a good friend, but also bring questions, because there will be an extensive Q&A, and maybe even an opportunity to hear and rate some of your philosophical hot takes. The tour dates are on screen, the link to buy tickets is in the description, and I hope to see you there. Joe Schmid, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for Joe.
How are you doing, man? We haven't done this in a fair amount of time now, but we were just talking about how popular these episodes seem to be. People like overviews, they like lists, they like comparisons, they like sort of, I don't know what it is about these videos, but people seem to really like them, so I'm glad to have you back today.
I'm glad to be back. I mean, I think it's just because I'm like overwhelmingly sexy. That's the only explanation. The women are just like swooning. Even the guys are swooning. The straight guys are swooning, in fact. That's what happens every time I come.
I'm sure the people in the comments will let us know, and now, since we said this, there will inevitably be TikTok edits of these comments, so, you know, edit away. We're here today to discuss some of the most popular atheist or like counter-religion, counter-apologetic slogans. And this was your idea, because I wanted to do another episode with you, and you said, hey, how about this? I don't know about you, but all the time on the internet, not just like in comment sections and stuff, but I see like videos, it's either like people making videos on social media, or it's like clips of someone like Ricky Gervais, and they've got these kinds of like one-liners, and you're seeing people say like, oh, well, I just believe in one God less than you do. Or it's like the Ricky Gervais thing went viral kind of recently, right? Of like, you know, if all the books were burned in the world, the science ones would come back and the religion ones wouldn't come back. And it's sort of, they turn into these like slogans that atheists use all the time. Now, look, I don't believe in God. I think you don't believe in God, at least the last time I checked you didn't. And I think some of these slogans work, some of them don't. So today, let's go through as many as we can do in a reasonable amount of time and see if we should keep using them. How's it sound?
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I mean, these are often used as like thought-terminating cliches, but or, you know, like mic drop moments. So we'll see if we have any mic drop moments in defense of them, or maybe in responding to them. We'll see. I'm sure we'll have some.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, let's start with a claim, which is it Carl Sagan who first said this? It was someone like that. I think it might have been Sagan, who said that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. That's claim one. And I think it's because, you know, a lot of the religious claims that people make are pretty sort of out there. You know, people rising from the dead, supernatural interventions into the world, and people like to say, well, we've got evidence for these things. But for a lot of atheists, it's maybe you can't say, oh, well, you don't have any evidence at all for this kind of stuff, but it isn't really doing it for me. And this is supposed to capture that kind of feeling, I suppose?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Sagan talks about not only about religion, but also, you know, like alien abduction. I remember watching a video when I was in my new atheist phase of Carl Sagan talking about aliens. And he's just noting that like these claims maybe seem to like be antecedently quite improbable. They run very contrary to our ordinary humdrum experience, to the way we generally know the world to operate. And when you have claims like that, it seems like you need some pretty strong evidence in order to believe them. Maybe he would cash out extraordinary in some way other than pretty strong evidence, but I think that's maybe the most charitable interpretation here. I mean, we actually might not get sparks flying for this one, because like I think there's a very charitable reading of this slogan, which is just like clearly correct. I don't know about you, but...
Well, I've heard people say in response to this, like, no, extraordinary claims just require ordinary evidence, right? Like, if your sort of epistemological standards are such that I require, you know, X amount of evidence to believe in a claim, I guess there's something about like the prior probability of the claim which makes us want to like heighten the amount of evidence needed. So technically speaking, we might be saying something like, you know, if the prior probability of the thing that you're claiming is much lower, like...
Okay, hold on. Break.
Objectively speaking, if Trump had won in
2 days
2020,
ago.
the country would not be in as bad of a position as it is now. What Biden did by winning and then doing nothing with his presidency to stop Republicans was give him 4 years to recoup. Then Trump came back with a whole cabinet full of loyalists and has done unimaginable harm to the country that'll last decades, if not centuries. You made the best decision with the information available at the time? Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm not ashamed of that. Sure, like I hope that over time I learn more and I continue to evaluate what I believe. Yeah, I'm not saying what I'm saying out of vindictiveness. I'm telling you guys that the future of this country right now rests on the ability for the Democratic Party to find somebody better than Gavin Newsom. Everyone's getting real mad over that Hassan podcast snippet where he was talking about not voting for Gavin Newsom if he was up against JD Vance, and he's been getting like everyone blue MAGA has been going after him. It's really frustrating too, because like there are, in my opinion, problems with how Hassan advocates for his positions, and sometimes like his positions themselves are pretty flawed. But the blue MAGA people are like the lowest IQ, like they're the worst. Imagine being a regime dog
Blue
for a
MAGA?
regime that isn't in power, doesn't want to have power, doesn't know what to do with power, and hates you. Like at least being a regime dog for the Republicans, you get to like revel in the like malicious vindictiveness of like, well, 10,000 more brown people to the camps or whatever. But on the Democrat side, like you're getting all of the affect, none of the effect. I have no idea what are you in it for? I don't understand. Where's that bomber from? The one I'm wearing? Imogene and Willie. But they're out of it right now. I got it a while ago. No, they really are just doing it for the love of the game. No more discos. Look, Masaigu, I know you don't like it when we talk about Gavin Newsom as though he's already the Democratic primary candidate in 2028. But the problem is that that's where the discourse is centered right now. He's one of two people who have so far like effectively put their hat into the ring, or at least like two of the main people being discussed right now. And there are already
Like, you can tell that these guys aren't serious about political power, because if they were, they would be building their own candidates. Vaush is right in that Newsom is not, like, we're really far out, and it's just people talking about him to talk about him. But then, like, why join that? Why talk about him? Why not find your own candidates and build them up? Wouldn't that be better?
people that are trying to like get you to preemptively declare your allegiance to him, even though we're like over.
Nobody's trying. I can't believe this discourse was hijacked so much by a reframing of that. Who do I blame for that? Sam Cedar? It was a hypothetical. If you had to vote for one or the other, who would you vote for? Not like, are you locked in right now? You will support Newsom. No matter what, you will support Newsom. Do the prayer. You're going to support fucking Newsom. You got to support Newsom. No one is saying this. No one, I don't think anybody's, well, maybe some random person on Twitter, but nobody serious has this opinion.
Year out from a primary. It's crazy. Now the discourse is like, if you don't commit to voting for this awful piece of shit Republican collaborator, this sociopath, 3 years before the election, then you're basically already a Republican. Yeah, they're already blaming the left for his loss in 2028. It's crazy. It's like we're so done. Trump is such a lame duck that we're role-playing the 2028 presidential election already. What the it's crazy.
For him. Disappointed in
Who do you
Gavin
vote
Newsom.
for, J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom?
Well, I'd have to vote for Gavin Newsom.
Me
of course,
too.
100%.
I wouldn't blink. What about you, Hassan?
I'd probably vote third party.
You would?
Oh yeah, I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is the same as like my refusal to endorse Kamala Harris. The reason why I did not endorse Kamala Harris was because she did things that were not only unproductive but also unconscionable. And I still stand on that. I still talk about it all the time because people constantly bring it up. They're like, you didn't sufficiently like promote Kamala Harris. You're the reason why she lost. And I'm like, I am incapable. There is no singular force in this country that is capable of.
I don't like Hassan's argument here, but I will say it does kill me a little bit that there are Democrats who will unironically pretend that Biden did nothing wrong during his presidency and that Kamala Harris ran a good campaign. That to me, it's like, are you worth an argument? Are you worth engaging with? Is this a real conversation, or is this like insane team sportsman partisanship shit, right? Like, I'm speaking from the perspective of a person who argued pretty aggressively for people to vote in favor of Hillary Clinton in 2016 and in favor of Biden in 2020 and Kamala Harris in 2024. So it's not like, I'm not like a long time committed. I made a Twitter post the other day where I said effectively, I expressed some of the opinions that I'm having right now, and I'm getting dogged by like gray zone readers who are like, well, didn't you ride or die for Biden back in 2020 and 2024 or whatever? I got retweeted by Nina Turner, and then she unretweeted me, presumably after somebody let her know who I was. Ooh. So like, it's not like I've cultivated an audience of diehard like never voting for Democrat types or whatever. It's not really like it's pretty difficult to argue that it's like a grift for me. It's just like, if you genuinely don't understand how the behavior of Biden and Kamala both contribute, like so much shit, Biden's insane capitulation to Israel over and over and over again, the lies and the cover-ups, and telling the State Department to not release any information that might like indicate that it's illegal for us to continue supplying them weapons even though they're committing war crimes, when it was the decision of the relevant departments within the State Department that they had been, and then the decision to not functionally have a primary because we were just running with Biden again, even though everyone thought Biden was too old to run again. Like, this was a widely held opinion, and then he drops out bitterly after flubbing the first debate, and Kamala Harris shows up and says, I'm going to do everything that he did, except I'm going to have more Republicans in my cabinet, after Merrick Garland refrained from doing anything legally to Donald Trump. Like, if you can look at all of that and be like, nah, they pretty much did perfectly. The only reason Kamala lost because of those damn lefties. It was those damn Bernie or busters, even though all data like points to the
It's so funny, now I'm not necessarily grouping Vaush in with Hassan here, but it is funny that I hear this back and forth so much between lefties had nothing to do with us losing the election, so stop blaming them. But then anytime like the far lefties are talking, their position is, we are the sole reason you lost the election. You need to capitulate to us completely. It's very funny to oscillate back and forth between these two arguments.
Like the idea that it was hardcore leftists that cost Kamala the win in 2024 is just completely not supported by the data. Like you're not worth engaging with. You're like subhuman. You're not like genuinely you're not worth engaging with at all. So that I it's just seeing the engagement from these blue MAGA types I'm going to lose my mind. They're genuinely like, worse than the MAGA people. Because again, at least like the MAGA people, I understand from an emotional perspective how like locked in they are in the regime. For the MAGA,
the latest court filings get covered? No, I think we did our motion for summary judgment. I think 2 weeks ago, and then they just did their response, and then we'll do a reply, and it is what it is. Maybe the next update is just, hey guys, just got home from the trial. We finished because I don't know if anything. Maybe we just don't ever. We're waiting. Someday we're gonna get a ruling on something. Maybe.
People like the Trump regime right now is literally like the burning ember that they're clinging to. This was like their big cultural moment, and it's dying, and they're desperate to keep it aflame for as long as they can. Like they're carrying the flame, et cetera, right? But like that's not what's happening with Democrats. You could just choose a better Democrat. You don't have to do this. There's
Jones gets a reply wasn't interesting. You really might just make it straight to trial at this point. Yeah, apparently I guess one of the things they're hinging on is like, I think they brought up Melina's name 3 times, which is funny because in the beginning, Melina was talking to Pixie and they stopped talking. So my guess is Melina doesn't want to have anything to do with any of this. Number one, not that Pixie cares, because Pixie loves abusing raped or abused women or injured women if it furthers her fucking cause, because Pixie literally doesn't give a fuck about anything besides her own white girl reputation. And then 2, so they're after Melina. Me and Melina never spoke about Pixie, like really ever, so they're not even going to find anything. 3, Melina could just invoke marital privilege, because I don't think she has to testify to this at all. 4, me and Melina any conversation we would have had about this is going to be way, way, way long ago when it would have been outside of statute range anyway. So it's just like them hinging on this is just so desperate and pathetic. But it's not desperate and pathetic. I'm speaking as though they're trying to win. I've done a lot more reading now into Jones' litigation history in the past. Joan is just basically like a scam lawyer for basically her family and the families around her in Puerto Rico, Pixie's family included, that just does a bunch of bullshit, frivolous lawsuits in order to get people to pay out settlements. So it's not surprising then that the goal is to just try to do whatever they can to draw things out as much as possible using AI-generated fucking responses or cases or whatever the fuck else, because this is literally all she's capable of. And I understand now, this will all be part of my manifesto. Pixie's going to law school so that she can take over that role in the family of just being basically a frivolous lawyer to do things on behalf of her dad.
Nothing requiring you to attach yourself to this fight the way that you are. You could just choose you could just advocate for a better Democrat if you want. There's nothing locking you in. It's not a cult of personality. I don't get it.
When you say advocate for a better Democrat, though, you mean a Democrat that you would like more. Not a Democrat that would be more electorally popular. Although I know they just assume that. Well, of course they'd be more electorally popular if we like them. But then find them and run them. Why is it the Dems' job to find a socialist candidate that the socialists like? It's so spoiled and entitled and stupid. Like, why would you even want the Dems to find that person? Shouldn't you find that person and promote them? Like, you guys? No? Maybe? Possibly? Maybe? No?
That they're libs? Okay, they're actually not liberals. The blue MAGA types that I'm describing right now genuinely are not advocates for liberal values. They're largely anti-left contrarians that are like in it for the team sports reasons. They're not guided by any principal belief. Any actual liberal, like real, like, you know, I don't know, John Locke style liberal or whatever, would currently be issuing fatwas against the Democratic Party for refusing to prosecute Trump during Merrick Garland's reign as Attorney General. Like any actual liberals right now would be like stockpiling ammunition in their basements. It's not like it's this particular kind of like hyper capitulation, like pretends to fight the fight, but in reality they only care about arguing with leftist type. That's not like, those aren't actually liberals. They're not governed by liberalism. Notice that nothing that I've said in this entire segment thus far has had anything to do with socialism. Not one. I have not mentioned it once, and not a single.
Are any of these lefties ever specific about why they don't like Newsom? I don't know. There's like a smorgasbord. I don't know how you pronounce that word. Of talking points about him hating trans people, or him platforming extremists, or him apparently single-handedly denying single-payer healthcare in California. None of these are usually true when you dig into them. There's like they're stretching something past, really they're reading too much into it, or it's just a bunch of dumb stupid talking points. The reality is they just want like a Bernie Sanders type socialist type person, and anybody that's not that person they're not going to support. And even if that person did come about, who the fuck even knows if they would support them?
single point in time have I mentioned like, well, the big line in the sand here that's differentiating me from these people is like the belief in the commodity form or whatever. It's not the line. If anything, I'm the rep for liberalism here. I've never met a blue MAGA person IRL. I will say that. That is, they are much rarer. Yeah, but unfortunately, a lot of them are like Hill consultants and staffers. There are a lot of them in media. There are a lot of them on the Hill, but in real life, yeah, not as much of a problem. Also, like, keep in mind that sincerely, Gavin Newsom is one of the top running preemptive candidates in the Democratic primary.
Newsom is, he has, you say preemptive candidate, I guess preemptive has to be said here because it's not even announced that he's running for presidency. We're not even at the midterms yet.
Newsom and Kamala Harris, the two people that Democrats most often like pitch for. And we know he's going to run. Do you have a source in that Nina Turner post? You mean that she retweeted then unretweeted me? Yeah, in my mentions, I have Nina Turner retweeted me. And then I thought it was funny, so I looked at her feed and I wasn't there. So presumably she retweeted me and then unretweeted me. Oh, the thing she retweeted was this post from the Gravel Institute. Remember those guys? In 2019, if Democrats nominate Joe Biden, he may win and will have 4 years of weak, feckless Democratic...
Like the Gravel Institute, why would you quote them here? They were going to hate any candidate. These guys, the Gravel Institute, were like these were the ones that's propped up in response to... what university? The weird conservative guy. Oh, fuck. Who am I thinking of? PragerU. That was it. PragerU. Not university. PragerU. These guys said so much retarded shit, but I guess we're going to source the one. Even Vaush, I think, would agree that these guys said so much retarded shit, but we're going to source the one thing I guess we agree with them on? Okay.
Leadership. And then in 4 years, he'll be defeated by a Republican Party even more openly white nationalist. If you nominate an Obama redux, you get a worse Trump redux. There were blue MAGA people arguing against this, by the way. They were like, that didn't happen. I have no idea what like level of reality you have to be. Like, that's why I say blue MAGA. Like, you're not in reality. I have no idea what the you're... This is 1-to-1, man. Yeah, who could have seen this coming? We did. Prophetic. Leftists were saying that ever since Biden threw his hat in the ring. Literally from day one. Leftists, including me, were like, look, man, it's not even about whether or not Biden would be like a good candidate or whatever. It's that we saw that weak, pseudo-liberal centrism under Obama led to Trump. Like, we see the pattern. This is going to happen again. And then it did. It's not like, yeah, it's not crazy to see this coming. It's just like there's so much propaganda out there, like the liberal media. By liberal media, I mean like the liberal media, not like all media or whatever. But like they don't really engage with this point. They refuse to engage with anything beyond the consequences of the next election. Well, Biden would have been better than Trump. Well, he was better than Trump, and he would have been better than Trump. But look what happened anyway. Look what keeps happening, man. Look what keeps happening. Historians aren't going to measure this era of American history by term. They're going to measure it by Trump, by person. We've been living under Trump for 10 years. You could have put an end to this if you had prosecuted him, but you didn't. You chose not to. My dad sketched a portrait of you during one of your last streams. Again, I'm interspersing the real segment with this because I think that's delightful. As I do think this is delightful. It's recognizably the capital jacket too. That's so cute. Thank you, your dad. In response to all this business, Wlech responded to people getting mad at Hassan.
Usurp the chef. This is intellectually dishonest completely from top to bottom. Gavin Newsom has proven that he doesn't care about trans people. Gavin Newsom has proven that he doesn't care about the illegal nature of what ICE is doing when he platformed Ben Shapiro. And so to put the...
Got dog-walked by Ben Shapiro. We watched almost that entire interview and it was insane. Ben Shapiro isn't even like a relevant figure anymore, but Ben just walked over him. Gavin would not engage in any disagreement. It genuinely, like stuff like that, it really does make me think like I don't know if you're enslaved by Israel or you're like, this is what you think you need to do to run, like you make your pitch for Republican presidential run. I have no idea what you're doing, but it was absolutely psychotic. I couldn't believe it.
The burden of this on Hassan, who's saying, I'm not going to settle for a fascist collaborator who always is reaching to platform fascists and to find common ground with them. It's just intellectually dishonest because Hassan has a record of standing up for trans people. And when Gavin Newsom did that,
what is that record? God,
if that's the case, then why do I see so many post-FFS trans women say, hot tip, don't tell Hassan Piker you're trans when they post pictures of them with like bandages on their face,
Pain was felt through the trans community far and wide. And Pete Buttigieg did the same. And Rahm Emanuel came on my podcast and did the same. And so to say that Hassan doesn't care about marginalized groups is completely disingenuous because what he's saying is, I'm not buying the lie that Gavin Newsom does. I'm not buying that anymore.
I don't think any of them actually.
Removed from the surrounding retarded Vaush context, do you think he has a point with the frustration about Garland? Yeah, but guess who else had a frustration with Garland? Liberals. All of us were frustrated with that. We had so many arguments. Josiah was a Garland, I'll just say hater, because any more extreme word to accurately describe his position would get me banned. Everybody was frustrated with how slow that went. Yeah.
You believe that. There are seriously people on Twitter who are like, Hassan, you don't care about trans people. That's why we need to support Gavin Newsom. That guy who had Epstein collaborator and far-right propagandist Steve Bannon and white nationalist hyper-influencers Charlie Kirk on to agree with both of them, compliment them on the strategy, and specifically argue that the left went too far with regards to trans rights. Like, yeah, man, phenomenal allyship.
Specifically argue that? I feel like that was one point that came up out of was it an hour and a half or 2 hour podcast? Jesus Christ, people are so hyper fixated on that.
Because each time I do, or each time we do, it incubates a more and more fascist culture.
It's funny because, like, to be fair, now I haven't watched the Ben Shapiro talk yet, so I don't have an opinion on that yet. But, like, there is a criticism to be made of Gavin Newsom here, and the criticism might just be that regardless of what you think about the podcast, Gavin Newsom is not the person who should be hosting these podcasts. It should be somebody else. Like, Gavin Newsom's job or role as a Republican, or I'm sorry, as a Democrat leader who's supposed to be leading the fight against the Republicans right now, right? That Newsom's role here is not to have podcasts where he's trying to, like, break bread with the craziest conservatives or find common ground. Maybe you can make an argument that he could do that with Massey types or with Never Trumpers, maybe, but maybe it's just not his position right now. It's just not his role right now to be doing these types of shows. And I think I actually would agree with that. I think I would make that argument, actually. I don't think Newsom should be, because his rhetoric is so hard in other areas, which is good. But then the only reason I'm hedging here is because I haven't seen the show with Shapiro. Maybe I think it was, or maybe I would think it would be combative if I would watch it. Maybe I would think maybe I would think it was combative if I watched the show. I feel like I used 3 verb tenses in that sentence.
Here's a part of the video that they cut out that I think provides incredible context for the remainder of our conversation. Pop this up, Kylie. Enthusiastically.
I mean, Newsom isn't even above water in California with voters. That's true, Masaigu, but never, like, underestimate Democrats' willingness to commit to a very bad and unpopular bid. If the deep state wants to commit $2 billion to ad runs with him, like, they will run forward with him. I mean, this is literally what they did with Biden. Remember that in the 2020 primary, Biden wasn't even wasn't like a huge force coming in. Of course, he had the incumbency benefit of having been the VP, but, like, it was much more of an open race, I think, in a lot of people's minds. Not necessarily for Bernie, but I think people kind of expected it to be a bit more play. But everyone fell in line behind Biden in large part because of the centrally pushed narrative of electability. Are you sure Biden?
This is a delusion that progressives tell themselves. Vaush is usually better on this than other people, and he kind of is. But, like, there was some idea in that primary that I remember these exact tweets. Oh God, somebody tweeted out, like, because Bernie could never get above like 25-30% in the support for the Democratic Party, he just couldn't in the 2020 primary. He just, for whatever reason, he just was never able to crack that ceiling. And there were people like me who were arguing that it's probably going to be a more moderate Dem because it just seems to be the case. And then I remember there were tweets from, it was some crazy lefty loser guy. I don't think it was Ben Burgess. I don't remember. Somebody who was like, okay, well, when all 3 moderate candidates merge to create some hybrid alien entity, then maybe they'll be able to beat Bernie Sanders. And then I think the 2 other moderate candidates, whoever's left, they dropped out, and then all the voting did go to Biden, and then he won. It was like, okay, well, it wasn't really that hard to foresee. But then they all lost their shit over it, saying it was like a rigged primary because they should have stayed in it until the very end to let Bernie win with this 25%. Was that Kalinsky? Maybe it was Kalinsky who tweeted it. I don't know.
And swept the black vote in the primary. Yeah, but they're like 13% of the population, you know? It's not just about that. And also, the reason he swept the black vote in the primary, well, for one part of it's because he was Obama's VP, but also because, again, like that narrative, black voters tend to vote conservative in Democratic primaries. He was like the centrist moderate relative to other people who had been swayed more to the left because of Bernie's popularity. All I'm saying is that do not get complacent. Just because Gavin Newsom is obviously unfit to run for president does not mean that he won't run, and it doesn't mean they won't back him. That's all I'm saying.
Crawl through 10 feet of concrete for all of the marginalized people.
Do you feel like the Democrats know that, and that's why they get away with their ineptitude?
100%.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
okay, pause it.
I don't even.
So Hassan clocked me right there, and I'll own it because my politics are open-minded. They're not fixed. I don't play nanny boo-boo politics that, oh my God, you said you would vote third party, therefore you must be canceled. Number 1, Hassan's not a politician. Number 2, Hassan gets to think whatever he thinks. Number 3, there is a large growing number of Americans in
Vaush during Biden's term as it was ongoing. Biden outperformed my expectations as the most progressive president of my lifetime. Vaush after Biden's term, yes, Biden was the most status quo president ever conceived in the laboratory. I don't think I said either of it. Well, actually, I said the former thing, and I stand by that. In my lifetime, yes, Biden was the most progressive president. That's true. And he was also not nearly progressive enough. Those aren't contradictory statements. I don't understand like the snarky framing. Like these things are true. He was not the most status quo president ever. He was unambiguously the status.
Congratulations. I don't have it. Good job, buddy. Yeah, I fucking died.
Can't believe you killed this poor man over here for no reason, and he had nothing, and you killed him in cold blood. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
No, kill me. Kill me right now. Check my shit. I swear I have nothing. I swear I have nothing. I literally spawned in with no kid.
He's got nothing. So that means you were lying. Unbelievable. Not cool.
Quo like rally candidate of the 2020 primary. That's without a doubt true. You know, not the most status quo person there, but the one around whom the votes like sort of congealed, I guess, to use a negative verb. Yeah, you almost took my channel down with that take.
Wait. Oh, the surveyor thing? It went that way. Do you think that guy's gonna come back and try to kill me? Jesus. A lot of weird stuff going on here. Oh no. Oh, Jesus. Stop! These fucking...
Careful. You got me like Trump over here. Bullet just whizzed past my ear. But no, like, yeah, obviously, Biden was relatively progressive on social issues and pretty good on unions and worker rights. The main problem, again, was that he was weak and feckless, right? Like, he had no cultural power. Biden basically couldn't speak, and his staffers hid him from the media, so he didn't really have the ability to...
I mean, like, this is kind of true in that he had no cultural power, but also, like... And I understand, I guess I just have to accept as an American, we're in a different era now. I kind of liked that. I don't need my president to be, like, my culture leader. I don't need my president to be on social media constantly making epic tweets and epic... I kind of like that I don't know what Biden was eating yesterday or who he's beefing with or what new nickname he invented for some political adversary. I kind of like that. Like, maybe that's like a good thing. We don't necessarily need our presidents to be comedians or culture leaders, but...
sway the cultural zeitgeist in favor of the things that he advocated for. He personally was pretty good on unions and personally wasn't bad on social progressivism, except for obviously Israel. Like, we're not even getting at Israel here. But like, his personal weakness and his unwillingness to rally the party meant that he spent most of his term beefing with Manchin and Cinema, you know, and he wasn't able to communicate his vision clearly to the public. His big like policy, you know,
well,
the omnibus,
I mean, he got lots of legislation passed with these people, but
infrastructure bill, which just passed through like budget reconciliation, you know? He never was able to like really convey a message, and that's weakness. I mean, not even to speak of Israel or Trump and Manchin, sorry, not Manchin, Garland, you know?
Gen Z and as millennials that have felt completely unseen and left behind by the two-party political system, who hate and despise how much they suck up to corporations, who see the moral duplicity in a Hakeem Jeffries, a Gavin Newsom, a Chuck Schumer, a Cory Booker, who take money from the MAGA corporate donors and also take it from them. And so when Hassan said that to me, do you think the Democrats know that and take your vote for granted? And I said 100%. He's right, because they do. They do.
Republicans fight so aggressively to expand their margins for like everyone. They do it dishonestly. Like of course they're lying like the whole time, but the Republicans aggressively market themselves. They're always making the argument that you should vote for them. Democrats, sometimes it feels like they don't even know how to do that. Like Democrats don't even explain why you should vote for them anymore. They just look at you like this, Baron Harkonnen face. That's not Baron Harkonnen. Sorry, that's...
Well, I mean, yes, this is an issue, and I do agree with it, which is why I think the Dems need stronger leadership. But the issue is not just like they look at you and they don't know what to say. The issue is they look at you and they're speaking about policies and things that matter instead of like the most epic tweets they could be making, which is all the American public has a fucking appetite for now, which is that's the big issue. But
that's the guy from the whale. different fat guy, sorry, or whatever it's called. But you get me. Like, they don't... every time you get into a discussion, like, well, what is a Democrat president going to do for me? It seems like the main argument Democrats have is like, well, he's not going to be Trump. It's like, that's great, man. But after the last guy who wasn't Trump came back. So it seems like you're not really doing that much, you know?
I have this red state trauma. So I end up thinking, okay, I'm going to do a harm reduction vote. The reason why this conversation is so important, listener, is because we have time right now to have these conversations and to move our politicians to a progressive populist...
I respect this woman. She's genuinely, she's very good. She's very good. I like her a lot.
...platform. We have the opportunity right now to rid ourselves via primaries of corporate Democrats who lie to us and use our votes and take advantage of our votes and our compassion for marginalized groups and use them to their advantage to then curry favor with corporations and then go make massive stock exchange trades while in Congress. Okay, continue with that clip.
I mean, a great example of how bad this has gotten is that, like, basically no Democrats right now are farming off of the horrendous shit going on in Minnesota by saying that they would abolish ICE or that the party should abolish ICE, even though there'd be no consequences to doing it, and it's obviously the right thing to do politically and morally. I cannot overstate this enough to you guys. ICE doesn't need to exist. It literally doesn't. Like, you could redistribute the functionality of ICE back to the DOJ. You could abolish the entire Department of Homeland Security and have all of its apparatuses fairly redistributed to the Department of Justice.
Like, this is true, but this was not the left position a long time ago. It feels like the left position a long time ago was like, we just shouldn't do interior immigration enforcement. That's the feeling that I had. It might be the hesitancy or the reluctance to go along with the whole like abolish ICE thing. I do think we should push the abolish ICE message, maybe. But it's hard because, man, the people that you were associated with when you were on that wacky shit before were basically people who it felt like they thought there should just be no immigration enforcement inside at all. It really did, because those were like the loudest and craziest people online. It was like the abolish the police people. Like now they'll say, well, when we said abolish the police, what we really meant, not abolish police, sorry, defund the police. What we really meant was we just wanted to shift away funding from hardcore policing types into areas where we could focus more on mental health and have people that go along with police officers that can deal with mental health crises, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, I don't believe that. That's not really, I don't believe that. That wasn't what the overall messaging was like before. Or if it was, you guys fucked it up so much and everybody was so fucking confused about it that there was no... there was no coalescing around this point in a meaningful way. Like it just didn't happen.
and the security apparatuses, and you genuinely, it would work fine. It would work fine. And
yeah, that's another thing too. Imagine you have the whole abolish ICE narrative, and then you get one fucking mass shooter who's an illegal immigrant or something, and they kill 7 people, and now you fucked yourself so hard on the election. Oh God, what a fucking nightmare scenario that would be.
Border Patrol is not a matter of Homeland Security anyway. It's a matter of justice. It's a matter of the law. It's not about it's not like even the term, or the Department of Homeland Security, fighting terrorism and yoinking Jorge and his 3 children at the border are the same thing. What are you talking about? These are obviously different things. Why are you folding these into the same category? One of them is basic civil law, and the other one is national security, intelligence. Yeah, I don't know. But Dems won't do it. Dems won't do it. They'll say ICE shouldn't exist in this form. I don't think a lot of them would even cut its funding. Have they ever cut its funding? Do you know of a Democrat that has successfully lowered the funding of the Pentagon or of ICE or anything of that sort, or even really pushed for it? They did vote to raise it. They raised it every year under Biden. Every year, ICE's budget went up.
I've been entertaining that stuff, especially this far out from an election. But even in the primary season, that's immediately the conversation is well, whoever is the candidate, you're going to vote for them, right? And you know what's really indecent about that too? They never return the favor for left flank candidates because no one ever made hay about Bernie Sanders potentially becoming the candidate and all of the articles that came out about how Trump might be more preferable to Bernie Sanders. Because they were writing those, liberals were writing those articles talking about how, the head of Goldman Sachs, who was I'm a lifetime Democratic Party voter. I think, Donald Trump is better than Bernie Sanders.
I know. It's really bad. We're still 2 years out from the primary too. It's only going to get worse. Didn't Kathy Hochul just return the favor to Mamdani? Hassan attacked it? Yeah, I disagree with him. I did a 30-minute segment disagreeing with Hassan there. It's not about defending Hassan.
It was
just
this is intellectually
the blue MAGA
dishonest
people
completely.
represent a trend in the Democratic Party
blue
who
MAGA
are
saying,
legitimately
Jesus.
as dangerous, if not more dangerous, to this country. The blue MAGA people represent a tendency within the Democratic Party to never grow or change and to never work to appeal to people. And that shit is legitimately more dangerous than any individual Republican. These people could be Republican plants and it would make more sense. I know they're not, but they could be and it would make more sense. Our master stroke for destroying the Democratic Party is we're going to flood it with bots and paid operatives, and their job is to accuse you of being entitled and crazy and a Republican collaborator unless you're all willing to fall behind the least effective, most odious, unlikable Democratic candidate who will offer you nothing. And
all of this fucking discourse that's happening all over Twitter, all across all these YouTube channels and all these people, all of it just stemmed from people not understanding, I guess, the initial hypothetical of if it was JD Vance or Gavin Newsom, who would you vote for? Now it's morphed into this weird, they're trying to say that all of us need to get behind Gavin Newsom right now. It's nobody's saying this. I don't know anybody that's saying this. Nobody's saying this. This is a nonsense position that nobody inhabits right now because it would obviously be stupid.
then just watch them get torn apart via infighting. Super dangerous stuff. Thankfully, Blue MAGA is exponentially smaller than MAGA, and they only have power Twitter. Yeah, but the party acts as though they're all the guys. The Democratic Party acts as though that's the mandate of the party is the problem. They act with the confidence of a party that is backed by 100 million people who all think that you're a fascist unless you vote for Gavin Newsom. We need to be louder, much louder. I'm just saying, this is how elections work at the most basic level. I'm saying, if Gavin Newsom wins the primary, his ass is not getting my vote. That's me warning you ahead of time. So it's very direct consequence. Okay, so put a different guy up there, or a girl even, if we want to get woke with it. I'm just it's very basic. I'm just warning them ahead of time. I'm trying to let them know. You shouldn't want Gavin Newsom up there anyway. He sucks. Who would you be voting for? If it really did end up being Newsom versus JD Vance, I think the best outcome morally, long term, would be the lowest possible turnout on both sides. No matter who wins, if the total turnout was the 35% or some insanely low number like that, that would be the best case scenario, I think. Because the idea would be a reaffirming, you wanted to make it very clear nobody wants either of these people. These people are both awful.
Yeah, but that's fine for online discourse, but then one side would have real political power. These people, this is what I mean when I say these people don't have politics in mind. They're not thinking about politics. They're thinking about social media posts. Political power is about winning elections, and him saying well, a low turnout would be good for whatever reason, but you've lost the election.
Awful. I think depressing the vote as much as possible would be the morally, it would be the harm reduction option. That way, if Gavin Newsom wins, everyone knows nobody really.
But then you're just hoping that the next 4 years are meaningless, that whoever's in office doesn't matter, and nothing matters, and who cares who wins because nothing changes or does anything anyway. It's such a bankrupt position.
He likes him. If JD Vance wins, likewise. The fact that neither of them are actually popular means neither of them can get much done, which is fine by me because JD Vance will be disempowered and Gavin Newsom wouldn't be able to do anything anyway because he's a feckless Dem who would just cede power to corporations. You don't need to be that powerful if you're just a status quo candidate. So yeah, having the voter turnout be as low as possible there would probably be the best possible option. That would be the most morally beneficial long-term direction to go in. Okay. Bloomberg is pushing Newsom. The comments are all negative. That's funny. Oh, well, 37 minutes.
Been inspired by a lot of our politicians and by our politics in the past. And now on the other side, maybe feeling a little more desperate about the moment we're living in. The blatant corruption that is occurring on an hourly, not just daily basis. It sickens me in my core as an American.
You sound very sincere, very broken up about it.
Father.
What's up with these comments? If he was crying, would you say, oh, he seems sincere? Jesus.
As a guy who grew up in the Bay Area and to watch some of my old friends participate in that, I need to be more accountable to this moment.
Why should people trust you?
Trust me. I mean, I am who I am, and I've been a.
I guess that's all you really can say when your entire record is just you like shamelessly flip-flopping and capitulating and agreeing with Republicans and backtracking on progressives. Like, what else are you going to say, you know?
I've been an open book for decades, and people who know me best have elected me to many offices. There was an effort to recall me in the last 3 elections. We won by margins of 20+%. So, I mean, that issue, I think, has been substantively addressed for them.
That's such an dude, we won by margins of 20+% in an insane recall vote in a blue state for a Democratic governor. That's insane. That's not.
What do you think blue state means? Do you think blue state means 90% of the people are Democratic voter? How many people in California vote Republican? California vote 2024 presidential election. What was the divide? 38.33%. So Kamala won California by 20 points. So it's not like it's like 90% vote Democrat and 10% vote Republican or something. Like sometimes I wonder, do these people think that blue states are, or that red states are like 95% conservative voters? Also, for you to claim over and over again that Newsom is horrible and everybody hates him and Californians hate him and Californians know him best and he wins his recall attempt there. I mean, like, what? I wish these people would point to policies or something or anything. I don't know.
Margins of 20+% in an insane recall vote in a blue state for a Democratic governor. That's insane. That's not something to brag about, man. Jesus Christ.
Those that chronicle me, literally and figuratively, that know me best in the state and certainly in the Bay Area.
The person who knows Newsom best of all is his wife, Jennifer Siebel.
Really, like, honest journalism here. Phenomenal stuff. Meet the news.
Who was a vocal ally, Florida governor, MBA, and
perhaps.
I get the sort of corporate side of their decision-making, sadly. So I think the vast majority will, quote-unquote, come back. I don't think they've gone that.
Why would they be giving his wife any airtime unless this was an anticipation of a presidential run? Like, the only context in which Newsom's wife would be relevant would be as first lady. This isn't the kind of puff piece you would do unless you were interested in, like, piping them up for, a presidential run. And from
could it also just be that Newsom's probably like the most popular politician in the United States of America right now, and that literally every single person has their eyes on him for leadership for the Democratic Party? Like he might run. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not going to, but like the idea that the establishment is already preparing to put him forth as our candidate. Like, okay.
Bloomberg originals, no less. From everyone's favorite Republican, Bloomberg. Not actually a Republican, but what's the difference?
Far is perceived.
How do you...
Just like, again, the law firms and universities have sold out, just like the supine Congress has sold out. These guys are not screwing around. They're ruthless. And so we have to push back. And so our comms has shifted. I'm starting to understand the nature of attention. You understand that in a business perspective, the attention economy and all the like. But in politics, this guy floods the zone. He dominates the narrative. Illusion rules. The narrative is what matters, not facts. And so we've got to fight with fire.
Oh my God, they're pumping up their press office account.
Was there a moment you decided to break the glass? Did you have to...
The intern that just like posts AI generated.
Talk about it. Like how would you...
I had to talk to her about it because I said, just FYI, some of your friends may be going, what the hell is this? Why is your husband's picture on Mount Rushmore? I had explained this is literally a mirror image of what Trump put out a few months ago.
People need to be a lot more cynical about this, man. It's not lay epic trolling or whatever. Gavin Newsom is just cynically mimicking rhetorical strategies he sees working on the right. It's the same thing that he did with his Republican podcast where he...
To make fun of them, what, like, okay, man, okay. Jesus Christ. Like, where is your candidate? Put up your own fucking candidate so that we can criticize him. You guys have nobody on your side. You're running nobody. You have nobody to even talk about. So you're obsessing on our side. Like, go away.
Brings these fascists on and he's like, good point. You really had us on that one, you know? Good point. Credit to you there, you know? He's just acknowledging the information environment. Yeah, the narrative that he hates Republicans more than anything else is insane. Like, he does not. He's one of the most openly collaborationist governors.
I don't like this word either. I get major Sussy Baka vibes when I hear the word collaborationist. That's like a mega weirdo socialist term. That's like you're working with a Nazi, you're a collaborator, you're a party collaborator, you collaborate against the party. It's a very fucking weird term. Maybe it's escaped that orbit and it's being used by more normal people, but I hate that fucking word. It's so fucking weird.
If not the most out there. It was such a weird narrative. Do you think of Newsom as to the right of Biden? I don't understand how, when you have videos like this of him 20 years ago illegally organizing lesbian marriages. Those things are incongruent. You're making the mistake of assuming that Newsom believes in anything. Newsom
Jesus Christ.
Doesn't personally have an issue with gay people marrying because it doesn't get in his way, but he would happily sell out the rights of queer people if it gave him the presidency, or if it helped him achieve like a broader like consensus within Congress. He doesn't. He truly does not believe in anything. Can I get examples of policies of his that are egregiously centrist or worse? I mean, the most recent thing he did as governor to that point was he argued against Ro Khanna's wealth tax proposal. He said he would veto.
Oh my God, the wealth tax, bro. Nobody in the, I think Norway is like the only fucking European country that even has any kind of fucking wealth tax. This is your example policy? He opposes a wealth tax? Come on. And Ro Khanna's proposal is dead on arrival in Congress. Even the Democrats don't support this. Nobody supports this. It's such a fucking these are the loser talking points. These are such loser talking points.
with, even if it made it through California's Congress, which is insane. A wealth tax is the only way this country survives in the long run. It's popular with Democrats.
My God.
Also, like, again, I'm not getting over Gavin Newsom refusing to say shit on Israel, pretending he's never heard of AIPAC before, and then bringing multiple Republican fascists on to just agree with them on everything. I'm not getting over that, dude. That's crazy. That's not just bad for a politician. If I had a friend or a relative who did anything even remotely that bad, I would genuinely like never talk to them again. It wasn't just like, oh, they incidentally met at a third-party event and they like chatted. Like you have some images or whatever of like Clintons or Obama like being somewhat cordial with Trump, and I don't really care about that. I don't expect them to fist fight the moment they see each other, I guess. I mean, with the Clintons and Trump, we know they spent a lot of time together in particular, but I mean like just incidental photos.
True.
This was like he invited them.
There's that Epstein thing. They're all pedophiles, by the way. Left and right, same.
Them on specifically to agree with them and give them credit. And these are really far-right people too. Bannon, Epstein-affiliated Bannon. I specifically talking
like
about
it. Is that why we don't like Bannon? Because of Epstein? That's the reason we don't like Bannon? Okay.
Him being to the right of Biden. Again, he doesn't believe in things. Biden does have real beliefs. Gavin Newsom doesn't. Gavin Newsom flip-flops on issues. Whatever he thinks gives him the better mandate in the future. And he's not even particularly good at it. It's not about his consistent positions. It's about his trustworthiness in the long term. But Gavin is to the right of Biden. That is true. Gavin would never be as pro-labor rights as Biden. Easily. Like that's like a dead center call right there. No way in hell Gavin Newsom would ever be as pro-labor rights as Biden. Yeah. Also, to my memory, unlike Gavin, Biden never said the left went too far defending trans people. Wait, Biden was pro-labor rights? Yeah, Biden was pretty good about that. One of the best presidents in American history. Hard to beat FDR, but yeah, he was.
Vaush's point is mostly that the Democrat he would support would have to convince him they wouldn't let a Republican win in 2032, and supporting the wealth tax he views is an existential need. Hello? Why would you be looking that far ahead when you can't even win the elections that are right in front of you? Why would anybody believe that you're the person with the answers for where the Democratic Party should move in an election 8 years from now when you can't win the election that's right before you?
Pretty good about it. Not perfect, but pretty good. He was pretty good on queer stuff, too. Yeah. Would you describe Newsom as Machiavellian? Yeah, but bad at it. An example is Gavin signed a law protecting trans people's rights in sports, but the moment Trump got into power, he said, I'll look into changing that law. Yeah, because he didn't actually believe in it in the first place. Like, he would be the biggest advocate for wokeness ever if it was a 90-10 issue. But in a country where it's a 60-40 issue, on either side, you know, he's like, I don't know. All my principles are actually, I don't know. I got to think about it. Newsom has done more for trans people than for most governors. He's the governor in California. He just signs the bills. I feel like you're deliberately misunderstanding me, okay? He does what he thinks gets him power. I'm not saying he's the most reactionary person on earth. I'm saying that he will shift to adopt the positions that he thinks benefit him. He's not principled, which is why you can see multiple multi-hour interviews where he talks to fascists and agrees with them and refuses to defend positions that he ostensibly has, because he's softballing, he's soft pitching the idea of like being this unifying centrist candidate who will correct the mistakes of the left and not go too far, but also will be more responsible than the worst elements of the right. That's his point. Like, that's the point that I'm making here. His actual record is almost immaterial, but his record is still pretty bad. How do you deal with people who say that that's him doing his job of representing the majority interest? That is an insane pro-sociopathy position. Like, we want our politicians to not believe in anything and backtrack on every issue they claim to support the moment the needle takes over. That's insane. That's like this value neutral majoritarianism. Why not just have computers run society then at that point? Why not decide everything by referendum? Why bother vote for anyone? You know, that's insane. Not to mention, like, you have the responsibility to persuade voters, right? Like, voter preference doesn't shift on its own. Stuff happens to voter preferences over time. And also, he's really bad at it because he had Steve Bannon on his podcast and agreed with him on shit. Do you think that's the majoritarian opinion in California or in the country? That's like, listen, okay? I know the Democratic Party is quaking in their boots. I'm letting them know they're on notice. I'm not voting for him. I'm sorry. I'm letting them know. I'm being responsible. It would be irresponsible of me to withhold that information up until the last moment. You know, I'm letting them know. So find a different guy. And don't find a worse guy, preferably. Seems like this Bannon thing is a poison pill for you. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Bringing one of the architects of the MAGA movement, who is also a longtime friend of Epstein, genuinely one of the most evil people with any influence on the White House, to bring him on to agree with him on his strategy. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's yep, yes, sir. Listen, if I'm willing to stop supporting Noam Chomsky over that affiliation, you bet I'll do it with Gavin Newsom. Okay, Noam
Chomsky, the 95-year-old crazy. Oh wow, so brave.
Chomsky is a hell of a lot more impressive of a person than Gavin Newsom. If I'm willing to drop Chomsky, I'm going to drop Newsom over too. I think that's a pretty easy call. It's the literacy thing again. We've had this discussion. We had it yesterday. Sometimes, like, the conversation, the talking points just go right over people's heads. There's not really anything you can do. If JD Vance wins, he'll be worse than Trump not voting against this moronic. You're genuinely just several levels behind the conversation. It's not even necessarily your fault. Why do people keep defending Newsom? Messiah do, because a lot of people don't care about outcomes. They just want fealty to the Democratic Party. And there are people who watch me and think I'm one of the good ones because they perceive my deference to the party in the past as unlimited loyalty. Because I thought it would be better if Hillary Clinton won, or if Biden won, or if Kamala Harris won. But they thought that was like an axiomatic position. They thought that was something that I would believe no matter what. That there was no set of conditions that would change my belief on that. But of course, I'm a consequentialist. I think consequentially the harm of Gavin Newsom winning would be greater than the harm of JD Vance winning. So the harm reduction candidate, JD Vance. I'm sorry. Or, well, the harm reduction there would be the lowest voter turnout possible. What if it wasn't Vance? Well, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. A lot of stuff can change in the next 2 years. Great way to go after disaffected voters. Yeah, do the vote shaming, or like the preemptive vote shaming 2 years before the primary is pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That's a pretty interesting strategy. Like, no, like, just anything that puts you in a position where you have to defend Gavin Newsom, a wretched piece of shit.